Chapter 187. She had an impulse to hang up the phone. She was silent for a while. Among the people she knew, the most powerful one was Gu Lingqing. Only Gu Lingqing could help her. Mu Shaoxing was kind to her and helped her when she was in a desperate situation. With this kindness, she should try her best to save him. "I need your help with something," Baiya said in a low voice. She was a little embarrassed. "Well, tell me. What's the matter?" Gu Lingqing sounded nice. "I heard that Mu Shaoxing was taken away by someone." Mu Shaoxing is the director of the Psychological Research Institute. "Can you let him out?" "You don't know who took him away?" Gu Lingqing asked back. "In a women's club, a man named Tony was killed." Then, Mu Shaoxing said that it might have been done by the person who called for Tony last. He was taken away. Tony's level is very high. Only Diamond members can call for him. I suspect that it was the Diamond member who took Mu Shaoxing away. I'm worried that they will harm Mu Shaoxing. Baiya briefly explained the situation. "I see. Where are you now?" Baiya didn't want to say where she was. "What's wrong?" "I asked the director of City A to come and cooperate with you. Go to the women's club and find out the information of the Diamond member." "I've intervened." "They won't dare to not let him go," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. "Oh, I'm with Qing Feng Shulai." Baiya's voice became lower. Gu Lingqing paused and asked in a very bad tone, "You went to the women's club?" "Baiya, when I want you, you say no, but when I find a stranger, you want me. Is it that I can't satisfy you? Or have you learned to be cheap? Do you know they are not clean?" Gu Lingqing was so angry that his words became more and more unpleasant. Baiya was very thin-skinned. "It's not what you think. I came here to accompany Lu Shuang. I didn't say I wanted to do that. I just came here to sing. There are so many places to sing. Do you want to go to those places to sing?" Gu Lingqing said sharply. "I told you I'm here to accompany Lu Shuang." Baiya frowned. "Your feet are on your body. If you don't want to go, who can force you? You are so eloquent. Lu Shuang actually doesn't have a mind of his own. If you don't want to go, he won't go." Gu Lingqing said affirmatively. Baiya couldn't win against him, so he hung up the phone angrily. As soon as she hung up, she regretted it. She asked Gu Lingqing for help. She and Gu Lingqing were nothing. Why was she feeling guilty? However, she hung up the phone so suddenly. She was really worried that Gu Lingqing wouldn't help her. It was better to do it this way. She still called Gu Lingqing shamelessly. He was currently on a call. Her heart was in a mess. She sighed and waited for a minute. Then she called Gu Lingqing. "I've arranged the people. They'll be there in an hour. Find a place and wait." Gu Lingqing said coolly. Baiya felt a warm feeling flowing in her heart. Although he was cold and hard to get along with, he was very capable. He arranged everything in a short while. "Thank you." Baiya's tone softened. "Don't just say it. I want the specifics." Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. He was still suppressing his anger. "When you come back, I'll treat you to a meal." Baiya said quickly. "Okay, that's all. I still have something to deal with here." "Thank you." Baiya said politely. The word "you" was respectful and distant. It denied the intimate relationship between them. It made his temper rise. "Baiya, you really don't learn your lesson." Baiya, before she knew what was going on, he hung up the phone. "Baiya, I've been looking for you for a long time." "Who were you talking to?" The line was busy. Lu Shuang complained as he walked over. He waved the card in his hand. "I've already done it. I went inside just now. There's actually a self-service bar." Baiya hesitated. Gu Lingqing's warning was still ringing in her ears. If he knew that she went inside, he would probably go crazy again. What are you doing? I booked a private room to sing. We can eat while singing. Come on, baby. Lu Shuang put his arm around Bai Ye's shoulder. You didn't call their cattle, did you? Bai Ye was on guard. The cheapest is 3,000 yuan. It's a little expensive. I can't bear to pay for it. I'll accompany you today. You accompany me. Lu Shuang put his arm around her and went in. Bai Ye made up her mind and followed Lu Shuang in. Anyway, she was magnanimous. It was fine as long as she didn't do what Gu Lingqing said. They went inside. In the form of a buffet, there was a variety of dishes, and everything was available. Lu Shuang's eyes were sparkling. Then, she wouldn't stand on ceremony. Her stomach was already growling with hunger. They went into the private room to sing. Half an hour later, someone knocked on the door. Lu Shuang guessed that it was to promote the cattle. She opened the door. Indeed, outside the door, there were two men with gorgeous masks following behind the mommy. Beautiful lady, today is the lucky day of our restaurant. These two young men are a gift. I hope they can accompany you to have fun. The mommy said with a smile. A gift. Lu Shuang didn't want to take them at first, but since they were a gift, she didn't want them. Come in. Bai Ye, didn't they say that they wouldn't find cattle? Cool girl, don't take them. They might have some illness. Bai Ye didn't say the word. It was too hurtful to her self-esteem. Don't worry, sister. We have a health certificate. We are all natural and safe, the man with the fox mask said. His voice sounded like he was quite young. We can sing and drink. Xiao Bai, what do you want? Lu Shuang teased. Go and accompany her. I don't need it. Bai Ye rejected. The man with the fox mask sat on the right of Lu Shuang, while the man with the dragon vine mask sat on the left of Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang looked at the man with the dragon vine mask. Do you know how to sing? The man shook his head. No wonder it's a free gift. It's a defective product. Wearing a mask. Do I look ugly? Lu Shuang asked casually. The man with the dragon vine, sister, we aren't ugly. It's just that because it's a gift, we can't show you how we look. We can accompany you to drink and sing. The one beside you doesn't like to talk and doesn't like to sing, the man explained. Lu Shuang looked at the man with curiosity. You don't even know how to sing. Your business must be bad. The man with the dragon vine, he lowered his head and whispered something in Lu Shuang's ear. Lu Shuang blushed and looked at him in surprise. The man with the corner of his mouth curled up. He looked quite charming and sexy as he poured red wine for Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang took it uncomfortably. He didn't dare to drink it and pulled Bai Ye out. Your Highness. The man with the fox mask shouted worriedly. Shen Yiyan raised her hand and signaled him not to say anything. Chapter 188. There's no free lunch in the world. Maybe it's their marketing strategy. They say it's a free gift, and when you can't stop, they'll start to charge you a service fee, Bai Ye guessed. I think so too. Why don't we drive them away? Lu Shuang and Bai Ye discussed. Bai Ye nodded. That's the best. Let's go back. Lu Shuang pushed the door open. You guys can leave. We don't need you anymore. Did we do something wrong? The man in the fox mask struggled. I think you talk too much, Lu Shuang said bluntly. Shen Yiyan, who was wearing the soaring dragon mask, was straightforward. She stood up, tidied her clothes, nodded elegantly, and walked out of the door. Seeing Shen Yiyan leave, the man in the fox mask followed her immediately. Lu Shuang was relieved when he saw how straightforward they were. He picked up the wine glass and took a sip. The wine was good. Bai Ye's phone rang. She saw it was Gu Lingqing's call, so she picked it up immediately. Gu Lingqing heard the singing coming from the phone. You went in. Baiya was annoyed. She was too anxious and forgot to turn off the sound. It's really just singing. Go to the door now. If you come in again, I promise I'll make one of you lose a leg, Gu Lingqing said angrily. Got it. You know those people outside are my people. Don't try your luck, Gu Lingqing reminded her again. Okay. Baiya hung up. What's wrong? Lu Shuang asked, puzzled. I have something to do. I'm going out for a while. I won't be coming in. Why don't you come with me? Baiya was worried about Lu Shuang. I ordered a 3-hour ticket. If you order for 3 hours, you can get a free ticket for the whole night. I don't have to work tomorrow. I want to sing to my heart's content. Lu Shuang didn't want to leave. It's too dangerous for you to be here alone. What's so dangerous about it? I can't ask for more. Hee, I'm fine. You go ahead with your work. If you still want to sing, come to this room to find me. Lu Shuang pushed Baiya out. Baiya was very sorry. She had originally come to accompany Lu Shuang. She had not expected that something would happen to Mu Shaosheng. Call me if you need anything. I'll sing with you another day, Baiya promised. Okay. You can leave now. No one will fight for the microphone with me. I can enjoy it all by myself. Ha ha ha. Lu Shuang said straightforwardly. Her phone rang. It was a call from an unknown number. It was probably from the bureau chief. She picked it up. Well, Ms. Baiya, I'm Zhang Donglai from the Public Security Department. Someone told us that if you didn't come out in 5 minutes, we would have to come in and look for you, Zhang Donglai said apologetically. I'm already on my way out, Baiya explained. She guessed that the someone was referring to Gu Lingqing. She had already broken up with Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing was controlling her too much. She was not his girlfriend. She did not have the strength to complain. She felt that if this continued, she would not be able to escape from the cage he had created. She left the room in a hurry. She did not notice that someone was staring at her. Your Highness, the girl has come out. We don't have to send her away, right? The man in the fox mask asked. Shen Yen curled her lips. It seems like it's God's arrangement. When Lu Shuang finishes drinking, you can take her away. Yes. Baiya arrived at the door. 2 police cars were there. One of them was a well-built middle-aged man. He was wearing a police uniform and looked very formidable. He took the initiative to extend his hand to Baiya and greeted her politely. Hello, Zhang Donglai. What do you need me to do now? Hello, Baiya. Baiya greeted him and went straight to the point. Go and find out who were the customers who ordered Tony yesterday. I want the specific information of the customers. Okay, someone asked you to wait in the car. I think it will take 10 minutes. I will give it to you in 10 minutes, Zhang Donglai said. Baiya, Zhang Donglai brought them to the club. A police officer opened the car door and gestured for Baiya to get in. She had a strange feeling in her heart. She sat in the back seat and looked out of the window anxiously. Her phone rang. It was a message from Lu Shuang. She opened it. Xiao Bai, I like a male bull. I'm going to play with him first. Don't look for him. Baiya was worried. She called Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang did not pick up the call. Are you crazy? Which room are you in? Shuang Niu, don't do something you will regret. Baiya sent the message anxiously. Don't worry. I know what I'm doing. I'm already an adult. I'm going to take a shower. My phone is off. Mwah. Don't disturb me. You should support me if you are my sister. Baiya could tell that it was Lu Shuang's tone. Although she did not agree with it, Lu Shuang was right. She was already an adult. She knew what she was talking about. If she were to forcefully bring Lu Shuang away, Lu Shuang would not be happy. She did not call him again. She was just worried. After Shen Yiyan sent the message, she switched off Lu Shuang's phone and placed it on the bedside table. She looked coldly at Lu Shuang, who was unconscious on the bed. She actually came to look for a male bull. He had really given her freedom. He tore off his tie and threw it on the sofa. Then, he unbuttoned his clothes. Lu Shuang frowned slightly. He felt so hot. It was so hot that it felt like there were many worms crawling on him. Uncomfortable. Shen Yiyan's body covered Lu Shuang's and she pinched his chin. You deserve it. You don't have any self-awareness at all as my woman. Lu Shuang slapped his hand away and opened her eyes. Her vision was very blurry and she could not see clearly. She fainted after drinking a glass of wine. She was dizzy. I'm thirsty. Water. Lu Shuang said with a whimper. Coming. Shen Yiyan kissed her lips. Lu Shuang sucked hard. It was not enough to quench her thirst, but it was better than before. Shen Yiyan's tongue was hurt by her sucking. She left. Lu Shuang was not satisfied. She hooked her arms around the back of his neck. Shen Yiyan raised the corner of her mouth and took the initiative to touch her lips. She was like a baby. However, this could not calm down the boiling blood in her body. I feel uncomfortable. Lu Shuang looked at Shen Yiyan pitifully. Can you wait for another 6 months? Shen Yiyan said meaningfully. In 6 months, he could reach the top of the world. He could also control his own marriage. No, I feel uncomfortable now. Lu Shuang pushed him away. She wanted to go to the bathroom to take a cold shower to cool down. He pulled her. She was limp and had no strength at all. She sat on the bed. Shen Yiyan looked at her. Stop looking for a boyfriend. I'll marry you in the future. Lu Shuang saw his mouth moving. She seemed to have heard something, but she could not understand what it meant. The discomfort was getting worse. I want to go to the hospital. I'm going to die. Lu Shuang stood up. He carried her on his body and said wickedly, Can I help you treat it? She was in a daze for a few seconds. He placed her on the bed and his palm slid down the waist of her dress. Chapter 189. Lu Shuang didn't know what she wanted. The discomfort gradually subsided. After she was satisfied, she fell asleep. Shen Yiyan looked at her blushing face with infatuation and moved her bangs aside. He had fallen in love with her 3 years ago. Since he had never given up, he wasn't going to give up. He would cut off as many peach blossoms as she had. She would either die alone, or she would only have him. Baya got the information of the diamond member who called Tony last that day. When she saw the information, she admitted that she was a little absent-minded. Su Xiaoling. The last one to call Tony was actually Su Xiaoling. Then, Mu Xiaoxing should have been taken away by Su Zheng. The situation was more serious than she thought. If it was just an ordinary senior official, Gu Lingqing would just need to say a word. Su Zheng's rank was above Gu Lingqing's, and he was a popular candidate for the presidential election. It was not easy. Baya didn't dare to act rashly. She called Gu Lingqing. She heard a sound. Gu Lingqing picked up. Well, Gu Lingqing, I suspect that the person who took Mu Xiaoxing away is Su Xiaoling's father, Su Zheng. What should we do next? Baya asked carefully. You said Tony, Cool Breeze, the women's club. I already guessed it was him. Don't worry, I have already dealt with it. Now Mu Xiaoxing has been released. Don't interfere with what happens next. Mu Xiaoxing will take full responsibility, Gu Lingqing said straightforwardly. Baya, you already know. Why did you ask Director Zhang to investigate with me? She didn't understand. I'm just guessing. It's always right to have a two-way guarantee. I'll ask someone to send you back now. Have a good sleep tonight. See you tomorrow. Gu Lingqing finished and hung up the phone without giving her a chance to speak. See you tomorrow. Would he be back tomorrow? They had agreed to let each other go. Now that she owed him a meal, she couldn't refuse. He said it casually, but the process of letting Mu Shaoxing out was full of danger. She should have. Baya went back. In order to have a good spirit tomorrow, she took the medicine and went to bed. In the morning, she woke up naturally. When she opened her eyes, she saw Gu Lingqing sleeping beside her, facing her. His hand naturally rested on her waist. Baya was very surprised. Why are you here? Gu Lingqing didn't open his eyes. His Adam's apple bobbed. Sleep with me for a while more. She saw that he was really tired. When she talked to him yesterday, it was almost 9 o'clock. If he got on the train at 9 o'clock, it would be 4 o'clock when he arrived at City A. She did not speak or move. Initially, she didn't think that she would fall asleep. After all, she hadn't been sleeping well all this while and had to rely on medicine to maintain her sleep. However, unknowingly, she fell asleep again. I don't know how long. As soon as Gu Lingqing moved, Baya woke up and opened his eyes. What time is it now? Gu Lingqing glanced at his phone. 12 o'clock. Baya, she collapsed and sat up. Let's go. I'll treat you to dinner. Gu Lingqing pressed her shoulders down on the bed. Before dinner, do something else first. Baya covered her mouth when she saw him kissing her on the lips. Gu Lingqing furrowed his brows. Baya, don't make me angry. I haven't brushed my teeth yet, Baya said gloomily. Gu Lingqing's gaze paused for a moment. He let go of her and walked into the washroom to brush his teeth and wash up. Baya also walked over. Just as she squeezed out the toothpaste, she saw Gu Lingqing walk into the glass enclosure and take a shower in front of her. Baya accidentally saw that he was already in a state where he was ready. She blushed and turned away. She brushed her teeth seriously, applied facial cleanser and washed her face. He was already standing behind her. He was only wrapped in a towel. He looked at her with a burning gaze. Do you want to take a shower? Baya looked into his deep eyes. She saw the desire in his eyes and felt a little flustered. Why did it go back to the past? She shook her head. I've already taken a shower last night. I have to report to the Psychology Research Institute later. I've already skipped work in the morning. Gu Lingqing looked at her quietly. His eyes were tinged with anger. Aren't you a non-staff member? Mu Shaoxing said that you don't have to go to work. You're free to move around. Baya, how did he know everything? She felt like she had shot herself in the foot. You're not willing. Gu Lingqing read her mind. Baya lowered her head. Her eyes flickered. I'm hungry. I didn't eat lunch yesterday. I didn't eat much for dinner. I didn't eat anything for breakfast today. My stomach is hurting from hunger. Yeah, I was careless. I'll go eat first. Help me wash my clothes. Is that okay? Gu Lingqing asked. Baya took a look. Specifically, he was talking about the underwear. The outerwear should be dry cleaned. For some strange reason, she nodded. Gu Lingqing smiled. He was satisfied with her answer and walked out of the washroom. Baya vented her anger. Only then did she realize that he had brought his luggage with him. Don't you need to go to the military? Baya asked in surprise. I'll go back in a while. There are still many things to do in the military, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baya quietly heaved a sigh of relief. He saw her reaction. He didn't say anything, but his gaze turned a little colder. He changed his clothes in front of her like an old married couple. Baya was a little embarrassed. She took her clothes and went to the washroom to change before coming out. They went to the nearby Water Moon International to find a restaurant to eat. She still remembered that 3 years ago, they also came here to eat together. At that time, how good would it have been if they hadn't continued? Do you want ice cream? Gu Lingqing asked Baya. Baya smiled when she saw the ice cream shop. It was still the same ice cream shop. The owner didn't change. Did you ask me for ice cream on our first date? I said no. You bought 3 and asked me to carry them for you. In the end, I ate the ice cream and you gave it to other kids. That sounds like something I would do. Gu Lingqing didn't deny it. You're two-faced. Baya commented. If that's the case, I should have liked you at that time, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baya paused for a moment. She looked at Gu Lingqing and met his gaze. Gu Lingqing sized her up. You don't believe that I like you? Baya didn't want to keep guessing with him. She wanted to be decisive and not waste each other's time. Gu Lingqing, the person you like should be Zhou Hailan. Gu Lingqing was very calm. There was no change of expression on his face. She couldn't understand him, and he couldn't understand her. Baya, have you ever loved Su Jiran? Gu Lingqing asked. Our situation is different. The result is the same, isn't it? Gu Lingqing asked. Chapter 190. She's dead, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice, with no other expression on his indifferent face. Baya's eyes turned red. She had seen a lot of people with marriage problems. They got married because they loved each other, but in the trifles of life, their advantages became disadvantages. Because they cared too much about each other, they restricted each other's freedom. They quarreled with each other, hurt each other, and the accumulated conflicts consumed the stored feelings. In the end, they broke up and separated. The good ones parted on good terms. The normal ones were like strangers. There were also some who were like enemies. Because they used to love each other, they didn't want to remember. Even if it was a beautiful past, it would be regarded as a past mistake. Therefore, the living will never be able to fight against the dead who are not together. Zhou Hailan left the best impression on him. She was sunny, positive, beautiful, and cheerful. Zhou Hailan died because of him. In his heart, she was a cinnabar mole that could never be erased. And she had a lot of shortcomings. The more they got to know each other, the more he felt that Zhou Hailan was good. She didn't want to see them hate each other in the future. More importantly, she couldn't stand the fact that the man she loved had another woman in his heart. She would rather not love such a man. Let's eat. Baya skipped the topic and walked into a French restaurant. Baya's phone rang. She saw that it was Lu Shuang's call and picked it up. Little Bai, something happened to me, Lu Shuang said in a sobbing voice. Baya's heart tightened and she asked worriedly, what's wrong? Yesterday, Lu Shuang found it hard to speak. Where are you now? I'm in your hotel now. Let's talk when we meet. Okay, I'll come back now, Baya said anxiously. She hung up and looked at Gu Lingqing. Something happened to Shuang Niu, I have to go back immediately. I'll treat you another day. Baya didn't wait for Gu Lingqing's reply. She grabbed her bag and ran out of the restaurant. Gu Lingqing watched Baya leave. His eyes darkened. He took out his phone and deleted all the photos of Zhou Hailan. Baya saw Lu Shuang in the lobby of the hotel. Lu Shuang's eyes were red, and she was still wearing the dress from yesterday. She was not in a good state of mind. Cool girl, what's wrong? Baya asked worriedly. Xiao Bai, do you know what happened to me yesterday? Who took me away? Lu Shuang asked worriedly. You said you took a fancy to a male bull. He told me not to look for you. Baya looked at Lu Shuang worriedly. What happened? I didn't fall in love with Lang Niu. I fell asleep unknowingly last night. When I woke up, I was lying in the hotel room. I was raped by someone. More importantly, that person took some bad pictures, Lu Shuang said with a pale face. Does the man look like in the video? No, the hotel also used my ID card to register. I wanted to check the CCTV, but the hotel staff said that their CCTV was broken yesterday. Lu Shuang was very upset. Although she looked very carefree and open-minded, she was still a little shy. In fact, she was very traditional. Otherwise, she wouldn't be alone until now. Let's go to the hospital for a checkup to make sure you are not sick. Then, we can consider whether to call the police or not, Baya said rationally. Let's go to a small hospital. I'm afraid of being recognized in a big hospital. Also, if we call the police, I feel very embarrassed. This kind of thing is easy to report. Lu Shuang was upset. Baya also felt very guilty. If only she didn't leave Lu Shuang alone. Did that man leave the condom? Lu Shuang found it hard to say it. His face turned red. He used 7 condoms, and I took one. Aren't you working for the police now? See if you can get a fingerprint. Can't fingerprints be compared now? This needs to go through the procedures. I'm afraid I don't have that much power, but... Baya paused. Power was a good thing. In front of power, procedures could be ignored. Gu Lingqing should be able to help. I'll try. Baya said uncertainly. Then I'll leave it to you. Lu Shuang took out a sealed bag from his bag. When Baya took the sealed bag, she was also quite embarrassed. She accompanied Lu Shuang to the private hospital for a checkup. Lu Shuang couldn't accompany her in the room. Baya walked to the window at the end of the corridor, took out her phone, and looked at Gu Lingqing's phone number. She just asked Gu Lingqing to help deal with Mu Xiaoxing's matter yesterday. Now she needed his help again. It was quite embarrassing. She cheekily dialed the number. The phone was turned off. She guessed that he might be busy, so she sent a message to Gu Lingqing. I have something to talk to you about. Can you call me back when you are free? She put the phone in her bag and waited for Lu Shuang at the door for half an hour. Lu Shuang took the test report. There's no problem, right? Baya asked worriedly. Lu Shuang shook his head. No, he used a condom. But the more I think about it, the angrier I get. Is that person a pervert? He's doing bad things on video. He's crazy. If he wasn't crazy, he wouldn't have done such a thing. Baya agreed. She put her arm around Lu Shuang's shoulder. Have you eaten? Lu Shuang shook his head. Let's go eat. When we find that person, I'll sue him and go to jail for the rest of my life. Let's talk about it when we catch him. It was already 16:00 in the afternoon when they finished eating. Baya wanted to go to the research institute, and Lu Shuang followed her. When they came out of the elevator, they bumped into Su Xiaoling. Su Xiaoling was very surprised to see Baya. Her face turned white, red, and green. Why are you here? My Xiao Bai is now a special psychiatrist here. Is there a problem? Lu Shuang said proudly. Special psychiatrist? You changed your profession. Su Xiaoling's face looked even worse. Baya smiled. She did not want to say much. Su Xiaoling's family background was too powerful. She did not want to provoke them. She pulled Lu Shuang away. Su Xiaoling looked at Baya's back. Can we talk in private? Why do you want to talk in private? My Xiao Bai's time is very precious. It's 10,000 an hour. Do you want to see a doctor? I'll give you an hour to see a doctor. Lu Shuang stood in front of Baya and said. Okay, I'll give you 10,000 an hour. See a doctor. Su Xiaoling emphasized the last 2 words. Baya frowned slightly. Follow me. Xiao Bai, ignore her, Lu Shuang said worriedly. Even if I ignore her, it doesn't mean she won't pester me. It's better to leave. Wait for me in the reception room. There's a computer in the reception room. Baya said to Lu Shuang. Okay. Anyway, we're sisters. No matter what decision you make, I'll support you. Lu Shuang raised his fist to cheer. Baya entered the office and sat down. Su Shaoling threw her phone in front of Baya. Chapter 191. Baya could tell from her provocative and hateful eyes that she would definitely be sad if she saw the things in the album. Since she didn't feel good after seeing it, why did she want to see it? Knowing how to refuse was an important lesson in life. Baya put her phone aside and said with a smile, "Aren't you here to see a doctor? Tell me your symptoms." "My man doesn't love me." Su Shaoling raised the corner of her mouth and looked straight at Baya. "He loves a dead woman." Baya understood, so when she said it, she didn't feel too shocked and stunned. "And then?" Baya asked calmly. "He has a secret room. I sneaked in. Inside, there are photos and belongings of that dead woman. That woman has been dead for many years. I've waited for him for so many years, but I can't even get a look from him. I can't accept it." Su Shaoling said excitedly and stared at Baya. "You lost him, but you lost a man who doesn't love you. He lost you, but he lost a woman who loves him. You've wasted the past 10 years of youth, and there's no point in wasting it anymore. Without him, every day is a sunny day for you. You can meet many outstanding men and do what you want to do. With him, her heart is raining every day, complaining, sad, unwilling, and collapsing. For your own good, I think giving up is also a kind treatment for yourself." Baya said softly, as if she was treating her like a real patient. "The thing I want to do the most is to be with him. I don't like other men at all." Su Shaoling said with a cold face. "He might think so too. It's the most uncomfortable to want something but not get it. You need to adjust your state of mind. The psychiatrist only tells you the method. Whether you want to use it or not, no one can force you. Sometimes, a lot of things are not forced on you by others, but by yourself. It's easy to say. What if it's you? What would you do if your fiancé or husband had a dead woman in his heart?" Su Shaoling stared at Baya. "What would you do?" Su Shaoling asked. "No matter how sad I am, no matter how unwilling I am, no matter how wronged I feel, I will chase this person out of my heart. Since he doesn't love me, why should I love him? Since I will never be able to enter his heart, I would rather stay away from this person who makes me sad," Baya said lightly. "Can you do it?" Su Xiaoling's eyes were red. "Why do you think I left here to study abroad?" Baya asked. "Then why did you come back now?" Su Shaoling pointed at the ground and said hatefully. "Because I've already stopped loving," Baya said clearly. He looked at her and smiled. "I still remember when I first met you 3 years ago. Although you were arrogant, domineering, unruly, and willful, you were young and beautiful. Even in a crowd, you were the most eye-catching one. Look at you now. You are sallow and emaciated. Because of taking care of yourself or because you are in a bad mood, smoking and drinking, your complexion is very bad. The corners of your eyes are also full of wrinkles, acne, and spots. You look sickly. When you walk on the road, you look like a woman who has suffered a lot at home. Is it worth it for a man who doesn't love you?" Baya asked. "It's easy to say. Is it because you have never gotten it?" Su Shaoling said angrily. "Do you think I have never loved Su Jiran? I have loved him. I love him very much. Even though I know he hired someone to kidnap me, I still walked into marriage with him without hesitation." "Why do you think I walked into marriage with him?" Baya said with a smile. Her eyes were misty. Su Shaoling fixed her eyes on Baya. Although she was not clear about the things between Baya and Su Jiran, she knew that Su Jiran had many girlfriends. At that time, she was thinking who would be so unlucky to marry Su Jiran. It was equivalent to marrying a bus. Later, she found out that the person who married Su Jiran was Baya. In an instant, all her arrogance disappeared. She lowered her head, and tears flowed out. The girl who was once so proud and stubborn shed tears in front of her love rival. If it was not an emotional breakdown, it would take a lot of courage. There are several kinds of feelings in this world. Family, friendship, love, and a third kind of feeling. 80% of people don't have love, friendship, and even family is indifferent. Their lovers go from being in love to not being in love. Their friends don't really care about them either. Usually, after a meal, they come together because of a common interest or a common dislike of someone. But the boat of friendship can capsize at any time. Because they pay too much attention to love, they don't have enough energy for other things. If the parents only have one child, it's fine. If there are too many children, the relationship will be different because of the frequency of contact. There will be complaints, and even hatred. Su Xiaoling, you are actually very lucky. You have parents who love you, and you have a brother who loves you. Your only mistake is that you fell in love with a man who will never fall in love with you. For this man, you hurt your family, friends, and yourself. Is it worth it? Baiya said softly. Su Xiaoling's face was already full of tears. She raised her head and looked at Baiya. How should I walk out from this? Baiya, teach me. Human life is very short. Ask yourself honestly. If I give you 50 years, can you make Gu Lingqing look back? Baiya said cruelly. Su Xiaoling shook her head. Impossible. In his heart, there is only the dead Zhou Hailan. The average lifespan of people in our country is 72 years. You should be 30 years old this year. That's still 42 years. She had a one-sided love for Gu Lingqing since a long time ago. She had never truly enjoyed love. She had never been loved by a man who wasn't her family. Su Jiran, let go of the past and have a good relationship. If you can't find the man you love the most, then find a man who loves you the most. As she said this, Baiya's eyes turned red. Wasn't she saying it for her to hear? I. Su Xiaoling frowned. It was hard for her to say it. She wiped her tears and looked at Baiya. She gathered her courage and said, I have syphilis. It's not like it can't be cured. In the future, love yourself and others. Find a man who loves you and take the necessary measures. Slowly cure it, just like how you cure your heart. Everything will be fine, Baiya said calmly. For no reason, tears flowed down her face. Su Xiaoling's situation was similar to hers. They both fell in love with a man who only loved a woman to death. In the process of curing Su Xiaoling, she also found a way to cure herself. Chapter 192. After Su Xiaoling left, Baiya needed to adjust her state. She raised a cup of tea and stood by the window, looking at the passers-by outside. Some of them were full of smiles and full of vigor, some of them were pale and distressed, and some of them hid all their emotions and became indifferent. All kinds of expressions, moods, and states. Perhaps, this was life. Everyone was lucky to be born into the world. God gave them this opportunity to experience life. In life, there were ups and downs. Happy, sad, worried, and leisurely. Those who were not satisfied would feel happy when they ate a meat bun. Those who were not easily satisfied, even if they had the Manchu Han imperial feast, would think that there was a dish missing and become unhappy. She should have no desires, so that she would not be tired. Willing you have to give up to get. She missed the scenery of Gu Lingqing. Perhaps, she could see another scenery that was not bad. She should really give up. Her phone rang. She saw that it was Gu Lingqing, so she answered it calmly. Baiya, do you think it's easier to get things done with the chief or with your boyfriend? Gu Lingqing asked in a deep voice. Baiya was a little absent-minded. Because of his words, she almost lost her mind and influenced her decision. She was silent for a while. It's important to know one's own limits. I don't live in the same world as you, Chief. Then why did you call me? Gu Lingqing hung up the phone unhappily. Baiya, it was good that he took the initiative to hang up the phone. Otherwise, what she said next might not be pleasant to hear. Baiya put her phone in her bag, walked to Mu Xiaoxing's office, knocked on the door, and pushed it in. Standing in front of the whiteboard, Mu Xiaoxing was very anxious. When he saw Baiya come in, it was as if he had seen his savior. Come, help me analyze who killed Tony. Who could it be? Deputy Chief Su asked me to solve the case in 3 days. How is that possible? Baiya glanced at the whiteboard. Is Su Shaoling a suspect? There is a motive. She was infected with syphilis at Tony's place, so she asked Tony to go. She also said that she wanted to kill Tony, but it was not worth it, so she let Tony go. What time did she let Tony go? What time did Tony die? Who else did Tony see in between? Baiya asked. The forensics department hasn't gotten the information yet. Do you know Chen Jing's apartment? Su Shaoling rented a hotel apartment there, which was convenient for dating. Tony went there at 10 o'clock in the evening. Strangely, he did not see the video of Tony coming out of Su Xiaoling's room. Then, at 5 o'clock the next morning, a worker working in a public toilet found his body. Mu Xiaoxing was puzzled. Get the police to check Su Xiaoling's room and see if there's any blood on the floor. Then ask Su Shaoling if she saw Tony leave the room. Also, don't stay in your office. You should go to the police station. They will get the information from the forensics department as soon as possible and give you the details. I'll go to the police station later. The forensics department should have the results. Mu Xiaoxing put down his pen. I'll go to the police station later. The forensics department should have the results. Mu Xiaoxing put down his pen. Well, Xiaoxing, for example, I want to test DNA or extract fingerprints for comparison. Do you have any connections that can help? Baiya asked. If I had any connections, would I still be waiting for the forensics department's results? I asked them to give me the results within an hour, not so long, Mu Xiaoxing said irritably. Baiya thought about it and agreed. After all, this was a series of procedures. Unless, she thought of Gu Lingqing again. An idea flashed through Baiya's mind. She went to look for Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang was playing games. When he saw Baiya coming over, he looked at the computer. Are you off work? Wait for me. I'll be playing soon. Okay. Baiya sat on the sofa. Her phone rang. It was Gu Lingqing. She hesitated for a while and answered, but she didn't say anything. Gu Lingqing didn't say anything either. Baiya waited for a while. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. I've squeezed out some time tonight. Do you want to continue with the lunch? You still owe me a meal, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Baiya looked at Lu Shuang. Did you find out where Lu Shuang lives if not in the military? Yes. I know. What's wrong? I'll cook a few dishes, Baiya invited. Okay. I'll be there at around 7. Baiya hung up. Lu Shuang was already standing in front of her. He smiled slyly. Who are you inviting to my place for dinner? Your new boyfriend? Gu Lingqing, don't go away this time. Baiya stood up and held Lu Shuang's arm. Let's go. We'll report to the police station first. I'll say that I was raped. I'll provide a condom and let the police go through the normal procedures. They should be able to find the culprit soon. Lu Shuang was completely stunned. You're involved with Gu Lingqing again. Also, if you report to the police, it will affect your reputation. It's not good. Forget it. I'll just take it that I was bitten by a dog. Anyway, it's not the first time I was bitten by a dog. It's fine as long as I'm not sick. I don't care about my reputation. I can't let the culprit get away with it. Forget it, when the time comes, you will go to jail for slandering me. Forget it, it's better to avoid trouble. Forget it, I won't say anything, it won't affect my marriage. If this matter gets blown up, I will become a laughing stock in the military, and my parents will also be implicated. Forget it, forget it. Forget it. Tell me, what's going on between you and Gu Lingqing? Lu Shuang asked worriedly. There's nothing going on between me and him. I owe him a favor. I'll treat him to a meal and we'll be even, Baiya said calmly. You have to think carefully. Gu Lingqing's family won't accept you. You finally have a stable life. If you lose your life in a relationship, it's not worth it, Lu Shuang reminded her. I know what I'm doing. Don't worry, Baiya said with a smile. She went to buy pork ribs, winter gourd, sword beans, shredded meat, tomatoes, eggs, green peppers, and beef. She made beef ribs with green peppers, eggs with tomatoes, shredded meat, and winter gourd and pork ribs soup. Gu Lingqing came on time. He brought roses and red wine. He took off his military uniform and changed into a black suit. His posture was straight. When Lu Shuang saw Gu Lingqing, he was still a little scared. He stood up and greeted respectfully, Chief. Gu Lingqing nodded and passed the roses to Baiya. He said in a deep voice, after dinner, accompany me to a place. After that, you can tell me your final decision. No matter what your decision is, I'll respect it. Baiya paused. Chapter 193. Baiya had a lot on her mind as she ate. She peeked at Gu Lingqing. He was well-mannered. He ate slowly and looked at Baiya. His eyes met hers. Baiya felt a little guilty, and her eyes flickered away. He picked up a piece of pork rib and put it in Baiya's bowl. You should eat more. You're too skinny. It won't be easy for you to get pregnant if you're so skinny, Gu Lingqing said seriously. Baiya blushed. Get pregnant? What was he thinking? Lu Shuang looked at Gu Lingqing suspiciously. Then, he looked at Baiya and then at Gu Lingqing. He was still looking at Baiya. There was only Baiya in his eyes. She lost her memory but she could find it again. Was that love? Bureau Chief, do you like Little White? Lu Shuang was straightforward and asked directly. Baiya was nervous. She held her chopsticks and lowered her head, pretending that she didn't care about the answer. Just when she thought that he wouldn't answer, he answered, Baiya's hands were trembling. Lu Shuang held Baiya's hands and looked at Gu Lingqing. What if your parents object? Your family is powerful, but we, Baiya, have nothing. With my current status, I can marry freely. I won't be restricted by anyone, Gu Lingqing promised. Lu Shuang smiled and looked at Baiya. He realized that Baiya's face was dark. She couldn't see any joy. Then, when are you going to marry Baiya? You lost your memory but Baiya didn't. You guys have talked about it before. You have to be responsible for Xiaobai, Lu Shuang pressed. Cool girl, Baiya interrupted Lu Shuang. I don't need anyone to be responsible. Seeing that Baiya was angry, Lu Shuang immediately shut up. I'll take responsibility. Gu Lingqing promised Baiya. Baiya smiled faintly, but there was a mystery in his eyes that he couldn't see through. Does Chief Gu think that I can't support myself or that I can't find a boyfriend? I don't need you to be responsible for me. I can still live a good life. I can also find a man who likes me. Weakling, I am not a weakling. Gu Lingqing's eyes darkened, and his tone was very unpleasant. Who else do you want to look for? Seeing that Gu Lingqing was about to get angry, Lu Shuang hurriedly said, Baiya didn't mean that she would find a boyfriend even if leader Gu didn't want her. Did I say that I don't want you anymore? Gu Lingqing stared at Baiya. I don't need it, Baiya replied. You just don't want me anymore, right? Gu Lingqing slammed his chopsticks on the table and quickly left Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang looked at Gu Lingqing, then looked at Baiya. He became anxious and said to Baya, "What are you doing? Wasn't the atmosphere quite good just now?" Although Gu Lingqing is a harsh and resolute person, he is a man of his word. If he says that he will be responsible for you, he will definitely be responsible for you. Xiao Bai, I think you're wrong. Cool girl, I know what I'm doing, Baya said rationally. You'll push him far away like this. Lu Shuang was anxious. He rushed to the window and saw Gu Lingqing smoking under the street lamp. Xiao Bai, she hasn't left yet. It's not too late if you chase after her. If a person can be pushed far away because of a push, do you think that he will last long? Forget it. I'll wash the dishes. Baya took the dishes to the kitchen. Her phone rang. She saw it was Mu Xiaosheng and answered the phone. What's wrong? Have you finished dinner? Mu Xiaosheng asked. Yes, I'm washing the dishes now. What's wrong? Baya was puzzled. Then let's have supper together. There's crayfish in the market now. I'll treat you to some. Hee hee, Mu Xiaosheng invited enthusiastically. Tell me, what's the matter? You don't have to beat around the bush with me. Baya was a little impatient. Mu Xiaosheng frowned and said softly, my case is blocked by someone. That person needs to invite you out through me. Who? Baya was puzzled. Your ex-husband, Mu Xiaosheng said apologetically. Baya paused. Su Jiran took Mu Xiaosheng's phone and said, Xiaoya. Threats, inducements, coercion. After so many years, you still haven't changed at all. Baya curled up the corner of her mouth and said sarcastically. I want to see you, but I'm afraid you won't come out. In a few days, I may have good news to tell you, Su Jiran said softly. If I don't come out, will you block Mu Xiaosheng? Baya asked coldly. Blocking is not my purpose. I just want to see you. Then don't block him. It's too late today. Tomorrow, I'll treat you to lunch tomorrow. Baya said straightforwardly. Based on her understanding of Su Jiran, he was a person who would not give up until he achieved his goal. She had to see him eventually. However, she was a little tired and upset today. On the surface, nothing seemed to happen, but in fact, her heart was heavy, as if something was pressing on it. Okay, see you tomorrow. I'll pick you up at the Research Institute. Good night, Su Jiran said softly. Baya hung up the phone, put the bowl in the cupboard, and turned around. Lu Shuang stood at the door and looked at her worriedly. Let me tell you my opinion. Su Jiran is a prodigal son who has turned back. In the 3 years when you were away, he was really clean and self-disciplined. He didn't get involved with anything and waited for you to come back. As for Gu Lingqing, he is unattainable and not easy to talk to. He is relatively dull. The key is that he lost his memory. If he didn't lose his memory, maybe it would be a good choice. After all, now his parents can't control him. Baya lowered her eyes. She remembered what Ling Qiuzuan said about Su Jiran. Just in time, she wanted to ask him in detail tomorrow. Let nature take its course. Plans can't keep up with changes. In this world, we can't do whatever we want. We can take one step at a time and see the scenery. It's good to be carefree. Baya smiled. Xiaoya, I really feel that you're different from before. You used to be stubborn, but now you look so open-minded and fairy-like, Lu Shuang said in admiration. I'm also stubborn now. But even if I know it's a stubborn problem, because my cognition is there, I can't convince myself not to do it, so I just don't struggle. Baya shrugged. I'm leaving. If I don't leave now, it'll be late. Lu Shuang hugged Baya. Move in with me. Don't you think it's expensive to stay in a hotel alone? Baya tapped Lu Shuang's nose. You're in the military 6 days a week. I'll be lonely here. There are many people in the hotel, and it's close to my workplace. With my current salary, it's not a problem for me to stay in a hotel. All right then, I'll share a bed with you during the holidays. Okay. Baya smiled. She walked out of the staircase. Suddenly, her arm was held. Gu Lingqing was pulling her away. She didn't expect Gu Lingqing to still be here. What? Baya didn't understand. Chapter 194. Baya did not know where he was taking her. Anyway, it was impossible for Gu Lingqing to do anything to her. How long will it take? Baya looked at the dark night outside the window and asked. About an hour and a half, Gu Lingqing replied. Call me when we arrive. She leaned back on the chair and closed her eyes. Gu Lingqing took off his suit and put it on her. Baya was not asleep. She could smell the faint smell of tobacco on his clothes. Was he smoking just now? She did not like the smell of tobacco. She opened her eyes and looked at him. 3 years had passed. Gu Lingqing had become more mature. He was introverted and did not like to talk. However, he still gave people a reassuring feeling. This was probably the characteristic of a soldier. Don't smoke in the future. It's not good for your health, Baya said gently. I didn't like to smoke in the past. I often had insomnia in the past 3 years. My condition is not good. The pressure from work is also great. I smoke a little too much. Now, I'm used to smoking. You have to supervise me in the future, Gu Lingqing said seriously. Baya turned around and faced the window. She did not speak. The window reflected her and Gu Lingqing's shadows. Chief, can I do a psychological test for you? Baya asked gently. Okay. Go ahead. If you're watching a horror movie, where do you think the ghost will appear? 1. The elevator, 2. The toilet, 3. Under the table, and 4. The locker. Baya looked at Gu Lingqing. I never watch horror movies. I don't believe in ghosts in this world, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Baya, let's change the question. You're walking on the road one day and you see a person almost getting hit. You want the person to be a woman, a man, a child, and an elderly. Choose. Baya was a little angry. He did not cooperate at all. What does it have to do with me whether the person is hit or not? Gu Lingqing was confused. Baya did not want to talk to him anymore. She turned her face away. Gu Lingqing frowned. If I had to choose, it would be a man. Baya understood and nodded. I understand. What do you know? Can you let me know the result? Gu Lingqing asked. The person who chooses the second option is resolute, courageous, resolute, straightforward, and rational. However, they are afraid of trouble and are not easily attracted by the temptations of the outside world. They also have their own goals and thoughts, and are more level-headed. They are the best choice for a partner. Baya did not want to say the last sentence. Gu Lingqing raised the corner of her lips. Her smile was very faint, so it was not easy to notice. Do you know why I chose B? Old people are old. Even if they were almost hit, it would cause their blood pressure to rise, and their hearts would not be able to bear it. The child was still too young and easily frightened, causing trauma. Women were too troublesome. Men are agile. As long as they dodge it, this matter is basically over. Gu Lingqing analyzed. I think you have a prejudice against women. What's troublesome about women? Baya asked. When a woman is almost hit, she will definitely call her boyfriend to complain. She might even find the driver to argue with. Gu Lingqing, you haven't found a girlfriend for so many years because you are afraid of trouble, right? Baya interrupted him. If it were me, do you think I would call you and cry, or would I argue with the driver? So I know why I liked you in the past, Gu Lingqing said directly, looking at Baya with a burning gaze. Baya's heart was trembling, especially his gaze. It made her feel very uncomfortable. Drive, look ahead. Gu Lingqing replied. Baya lowered her eyes. What was strange about women was that even though they knew that there was another woman in the other party's heart, they would still continue to test and test, wanting to prove that they were in the other party's heart. Because of this little bit of hope, they would soften and surrender. They would think that they could replace that woman's position. But the truth was, in this world, the most difficult thing to control was the human heart. If it was too close, people would naturally reject it. If it was too far, people would naturally ignore it. It was just right. However, no one would be able to grasp the perfect distance. Baya felt sad, and her eyes were also trembling. She didn't want to cry in front of Gu Lingqing, so she forced herself not to think too much. Sometimes, it would be painful to see too clearly. Foolishness, ignorance, and self-righteousness were the happiest. For example, children who thought little, couldn't think clearly, and were forgetful. Unknowingly, they arrived at Gu Lingqing's military area. When the soldiers saw that it was Gu Lingqing's car, they all saluted. However, when it came to the second checkpoint, someone would come to check. This was the strict requirement that Gu Lingqing had for his own military area. After the check, the soldiers saluted again. Baya came to his military area more than 3 years ago. Compared to the past, there was a lot of change, and a few more buildings were built. However, Gu Lingqing still lived in the same place as before. She followed him and went to the basement. Baya thought of the secret room that Su Shaoling mentioned. Although she didn't show it at that time, she felt uncomfortable in her heart. The closer she got to that door, the more she resisted getting closer. Why did you bring me here? Baya stopped. Gu Lingqing didn't force her and pushed the door of the secret room open. Baya walked in subconsciously, and what she saw was her photo. She looked at Gu Lingqing in surprise. She was so nervous that her hands were trembling. Gu Lingqing held her hand and walked in. The secret room was full of her photos. Some of them were taken from her QQ space that she hadn't used for a long time, and some were taken by him in secret. I hung these photos in the afternoon, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice and took a red jewelry box from the table. Baya glanced at the jewelry box and looked at Gu Lingqing. He looked at her deeply, as serious as ever, but there was a heart-wrenching pain in his eyes. 3 years ago, I woke up from the operating room bed. My mind was on fire, and I went back to a mission a long time ago. In this mission, all the people I brought with me died. Only one spy survived, and my girlfriend, Zhou Hailan, died at the same time. My memory didn't include you at all. From that day onwards, I kept dreaming of a girl crying. She kept shouting, Gu Lingqing, where are you? I thought that girl was Zhou Hailan. I don't have any impression of you. I'm sorry, I forgot about you, Gu Lingqing explained. Baya turned her face away. The memory of the past was too painful. When she recalled it, her face was already covered in tears. It wasn't until I met you 3 years ago that I felt strangely familiar with you. I went to ask about you, and it seemed like someone had purposely erased part of your past. I also went to your school to visit you many times, and as time went by, I felt more and more like the girl who was crying and looking for me was you. Baya. Chapter 195. Women had the softest heart. Quarreling with her boyfriend was not to break up, but to let him be what she wanted him to be. Getting angry with her boyfriend was not to break up, but to find out if he had her in his heart. She was the same. She didn't care if he was rich, powerful, or handsome. Even if he didn't have money or a house, she was willing to be with him. She just hoped that he had her in his heart, so that she wouldn't feel aggrieved no matter what sacrifice she had to make. She was afraid that he didn't have her in his heart. Then, she would really feel aggrieved. Baya wanted to give herself a chance, one last chance. It could be considered as doing her best for her last love. She pointed at his heart with her index finger. Do you have me here? Yes. Gu Lingqing looked at her deeply and said firmly. Can you let me replace Zhou Heilan's position in your heart? Baya asked with reddened eyes. I'm already doing it, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Okay. I'll marry you. In the future, as long as you don't let me down, no matter how hard it is, I'll be with you. Baya made up her mind. Gu Lingqing knelt on one knee on the ground. We'll get our marriage certificate tomorrow. Military marriages couldn't be divorced. Once they got married, there was no medicine for regret. Baya hesitated for a moment, and she felt a chill on her ring finger. Gu Lingqing put it on her finger, held her hand, lowered his head, and kissed her forehead. You promised me, so don't say the word break up again. I definitely won't say it either. Okay. Baya replied chokingly, and her tears continued to flow. Gu Lingqing kissed her tears, and slowly moved down to her soft lips. Baya closed her eyes and kissed him back. Gu Lingqing's breathing became heavier, and her breathing became erratic. He carried her on a long table, and his large palm unbuttoned her jeans, took them off, and placed them on the chair. Baya could feel his solid presence. It was very deep and very hot. It was getting hotter and hotter. She collapsed weakly. Gu Lingqing wrapped his arms around her shoulders and supported all of her weight. He wasn't in a hurry and did a good job. Baya's gaze gradually became unfocused. She clutched his arm tightly. As she screamed, he kissed her lips, swallowed her voice, and kissed her crazily. Baya's thoughts drifted to another space, and she allowed him to kiss her. A minute later, he placed her on the table and gave himself over to his senses. Xiaoya, give me a child, Gu Lingqing said hoarsely. Baya slowly came back to her senses. Because of what had just happened, she looked at him with a sensuality and bewitchment that had yet to fade away. She couldn't have children while she was still on medication. She had to stop taking the medicine for at least 3 months before she could have a child. But once she stopped taking the medicine, would her insomnia be cured? While she was in a trance, he also arrived. His abdomen was tight, and his chocolate-like abs were full of explosive power. He wasn't in a hurry to come out, and he kissed her forehead gently. Stay at my place tonight. Baya replied. He draped his clothes over her. His clothes were very big, and she could wear them as a dress. He carried her to his room, placed her in the bathtub, and turned on the water to bathe her. Baya thought of a problem. I can't stay at your place tonight, my clothes are still at the hotel. Gu Lingqing took a shower. You don't have to worry about that, I'll get someone to bring your luggage over. After we get our marriage certificate tomorrow, I'll buy a house near your workplace as a wedding house. Do you want Mao Pei's house, or a renovated one? I'll buy it with you when I'm free. Baya's heart felt a little wet. Gu Lingqing was still as meticulous as ever, arranging everything in an orderly manner. Buy Mao Pei's house. What style do you like for the renovations? Baya asked seriously. Gu Lingqing was done bathing, and he also finished washing up. He wrapped a towel around himself and kissed Baya's forehead. As long as you like it. Don't soak for too long, or you'll catch a cold. I'll get someone to prepare a pillow. Baya replied, and watched as Gu Lingqing left. She looked at the ring on her finger. It was 3 carats, very bright, and very shiny, so bright that her eyes hurt a little. In the end, she still married Gu Lingqing. She lowered her head and kissed the ring. She got up from the bathtub and wrapped a towel around herself. Gu Lingqing didn't have her toiletries here, so she wanted to rinse her mouth. Gu Lingqing walked in. He changed into his usual pajamas, and gave her new toiletries and a black undershirt. Baya took it. You can use these toiletries and leave them with me. I'll still come often in the future. The undershirt is mine. Wash it and wear it to sleep, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Okay. After Baya brushed her teeth and washed her face, she sniffed the clothes that Gu Lingqing gave her. The clothes had a fragrant smell. She changed and went out of the bathroom. Gu Lingqing laid the pillow and quilt. You sleep inside? Gu Lingqing asked. She was used to sleeping alone, but a long time ago, when she slept with Gu Lingqing, she did sleep inside. Yes. Baiya went to bed first. She looked at the time. It was almost 12 o'clock. She put her phone under the pillow. Gu Lingqing took her phone away, put it on the bedside table, and explained, phones have radiation. Baiya responded, with her back facing him. Gu Lingqing turned off the light. She didn't take the medicine and stared at the air in a daze. Behind her, Gu Lingqing breathed evenly. She forced herself to close her eyes, but she still couldn't sleep. She turned around and faced him. He closed his eyes, and his breathing was very light. Even when he slept, he was so elegant and noble, like a prince. Gu Lingqing suddenly opened his eyes. Baiya was caught red-handed and was shocked. Can't sleep? Gu Lingqing asked. His voice was hoarse, with the intoxication of the night. Just sleep, don't worry about me. I can't sleep either. Let's do something else. Gu Lingqing invited. Didn't we do it before? I only did it with you once a night before. Gu Lingqing was very curious. Not really. That was different. It was very difficult for me to see you at that time. It was inevitable that I would be aroused and want to separate, so I didn't control myself. Besides, you were in your 20s at that time. I heard you say that I was your first woman, Baiya said softly. Now, I'm also the only one, Gu Lingqing said with certainty. Baiya's heart palpitated. She turned over and covered his body. Looking at his resolute face, she was the first to blush. Then, let's do something. Chapter 196. Half an hour later, Baiya and Gu Lingqing fell asleep. They didn't even take a shower. It was indeed easier to fall asleep after exercising. Early in the morning, Baiya heard birds chirping. When she opened her eyes, it was dawn. She looked to the side. Gu Lingqing wasn't there anymore. She picked up the phone on the bedside table and looked at it. It was only 5:30. Gu Lingqing woke up early. She saw her suitcase next to the coffee table. She didn't even know when he put the suitcase in the room. She got out of bed and opened the suitcase. Everything was there. She changed her clothes and walked into the bathroom. There was a new set of cosmetics from Lanmer on the sink. She remembered that a long time ago, the first set of cosmetics he gave her was from this brand. It seemed that he loved this international brand. Baiya smiled slightly. After washing up, she was about to wash her clothes when she realized that the clothes she changed out of yesterday were gone. She went out. Morning, the orderly greeted her respectfully. Baiya was too embarrassed to ask about her clothes. Where's Gu Lingqing? Baiya asked. The chief should be at the training ground now. He'll be back at 6. If you're hungry, you can have breakfast first, the orderly said with a smile. Madam? The word was unfamiliar, but now it made her feel happy. I'll go out and look for him. As soon as Baiya stepped out of the door, she saw Gu Lingqing walking over, followed by Lieutenant Colonel Song and 2 colonels. Lieutenant Colonel Song was reporting something. Gu Lingqing listened expressionlessly and nodded from time to time. She saw that he was busy with work, so she didn't disturb him. She turned around and walked into the room. Gu Lingqing had already seen her, but he didn't call out to her. Instead, he ordered Lieutenant Colonel Song, cancel the meeting at 8 in the morning. Also, find a good wedding company and arrange a romantic wedding. I want to get married. Huh? The chief is getting married? Lieutenant Colonel Song was surprised. Bastard, the chief is already 32 years old. Can't he get married? The colonel scolded. Yes, I'll do it in a moment. Lieutenant Colonel Song nodded. All of you are dismissed. Gu Lingqing ordered and walked into the room. Baiya was not in the living room. Where's madam? Gu Lingqing asked the attendant. He just returned to his room, the orderly reported. Let's prepare breakfast. While saying that, Gu Lingqing pushed the door open and went inside. Baiya was sitting on the sofa playing with her phone. When she saw him, she stood up. You guys finished talking so quickly. Gu Lingqing held her waist. You don't have to hide from me anymore. Baiya smiled. The harem is not allowed to interfere with politics. It's better to stay away from it. What you're talking about is military secrets. If anything goes wrong, I'll be the main suspect. It's safest not to know. That makes sense. There will be a document for you later. Your research institute has already approved it, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baiya was confused. What document is for me? What did the research institute approve? Xiong Jiqing and Xiong Chang'an's incident made me realize that we need to strengthen the psychological construction of soldiers. You're the expert in this area. Directly hire the special forces for 3 months. The specific plan will be discussed in the meeting in the afternoon. Why didn't I know about this? The document is direct. If you go to your research institute in the morning, you should be able to get it from Mu Shaosheng. Baiya, why did she feel that he acted first and reported later? If I don't accept your proposal, will this document still be valid? Baiya asked suspiciously. Whether you accept my proposal or not, this document will be sent to you, Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. Baiya stared at him. In the past, were you pursuing Zhou Hailan or was it Zhou Hailan who pursued you? You're too autocratic. You're the only girl that I've ever pursued, Gu Lingqing explained. Baiya slightly raised the corner of her mouth. This satisfied her vanity as a woman. Gu Lingqing saw her smile and also raised a smile. Baiya, there's one thing I want to tell you in advance. In a military marriage, the non-soldier party has to file for divorce, unless I have made a serious mistake. I understand. She knew it. She had thought about it yesterday. You and I will act first and report later. If my parents' people make things difficult for you, you don't have to pay attention to it. You're living with me, not with them. In fact, I can't see them for a while in a month now, so you don't have to worry about it. Baiya nodded. She had experienced his style of acting first and reporting later. The current Baiya was no longer the Baiya of the past. She was more ruthless, rational, and cold than the past Baiya. The last one, the wedding banquet. Do you want it to be a big one or just a gathering of close relatives? Gu Lingqing asked. Gu Lingqing asked her because he respected her opinion. However, he was the chief, so it would be inappropriate if the wedding was not a big one. I'll listen to you, I don't mind. Gu Lingqing smiled. Let's have breakfast first, then we'll go to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Asterisk on the way to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Baiya looked out of the window. She felt uneasy, as if everything was just a dream. She was going to be Gu Lingqing's wife soon. She thought about it a lot. Especially about her and Gu Lingqing's child. If she told Gu Lingqing, would he be able to find it? Or was the child already dead, and it was just an empty celebration? If she told Gu Lingqing about the child, it would definitely involve the rape incident 6 years ago. She was conflicted. Gu Lingqing's phone rang. Baiya came back to her senses and looked at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing saw the caller ID and frowned slightly. He picked up the phone. Mom, what's up? I heard that you're getting married. Who are you going to marry? Song Shiyu asked in surprise. You're very well informed. You should know Baiya, right? Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. He looked ahead with a deep gaze. His face was expressionless, but there was a hint of coldness and harshness. Why are you marrying her? How long have you known each other? Song Shiyu was shocked. I've known her for a long time. You should know this very well, Gu Lingqing said with certainty. His eyes were full of sarcasm. Baya told you? Song Shiyu was shocked, and there was a hint of panic in her shock. I just recovered some of my memories. Baya didn't say anything. Alright, I'm busy now. I'll contact you later. Since I'm marrying her, I'll definitely bring her back to visit. We don't accept it, Song Shiyu said with certainty. It's up to you whether you accept it or not. I'm just informing you. Gu Lingqing didn't give Song Shiyu any chance to speak and hung up the phone. Baya's phone rang. She saw that it was Song Shiyu's call and picked it up. Baya, what are you doing? You promised to leave Lingqing, Song Shiyu asked angrily. I'm sorry, I regret it. Chapter 197. Have you forgotten your lesson? Song Shiyu warned. Previously, Song Shiyu and Gu Tianhang had kidnapped her and threatened Gu Lingqing to marry Su Shaoling. They had even chopped off her fingers. Her heart ached when she thought about it. Baya became colder and colder. She pursed her lips and said, I've already written this down. This incident refers to the time when you kidnapped me 3 years ago. The reason why I was kidnapped was related to Governor Cheng. I used my real name for all the people who appeared. I put this information in a black box in the United States for my friend's safekeeping. With my current reputation in the industry, my autobiography will definitely be believed by many professionals abroad. Even if it's fake, many people will make a fuss about it. Moreover, it's true and there's evidence to back it up. Are you crazy? Do you know how many people will suffer if you expose this? It might shake the foundation, Song Shiyu said anxiously. It doesn't depend on me. It depends on whether you're crazy or not. As long as it doesn't endanger my interests and life, I hope to live in peace. But if even my life is threatened, I'm sorry, but I don't have the time and energy to care about others. I only know who killed me. Baya said coldly. There was a sharp light in her eyes. Does Gu Lingqing know that you're so cunning? Song Shiyu asked with a pale face. Many people often forget or hide what they've done when they're questioning others. Speaking of cunning and cunning, Mrs. Song, have you ever reflected on yourself? Baya said calmly. What a glib tongue. I won't agree to let you marry into the Gu family, Song Shiyu said angrily. Baya smiled. It doesn't matter whether you agree or not. It won't change the result. You treat me well and treat me as your daughter-in-law. I'll be filial to you and treat you as my mother. Forget it. I don't want a daughter-in-law like you, Song Shiyu said. Baya understood. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. Baya, you want to marry into the Gu family. Don't you think your attitude is wrong? If Lingqing marries you, I will be your husband's mother. Your attitude will put your husband in a difficult position. Song Shiyu lectured in the manner of an elder. You threatened me from the very beginning, telling me not to forget what happened 3 years ago. It's already polite of me to talk to you now. You just said that there is no such thing as a daughter-in-law like me. Since you don't want to acknowledge me, why should I acknowledge you? Also, it's not me who's making things difficult for Gu Lingqing, it's you. In addition, you are filled with disgust, disdain, and disdain towards me. This will not change because of my submissiveness. Instead, it will only become worse because of my compromise. If that happens, I will live in a shadow for the rest of my life. I've even let myself down. How can I let others down? I'm sorry, but I don't want you to struggle at death's door and bow and scrape. Baya said coldly. 3 years ago, she learned the importance of power. Crying and pitiful to gain sympathy, but the dominant power was in the hands of others. Sometimes, when others wanted to target you, they wouldn't stop just because you were miserable. Then, she would protect herself. 3 years ago, Baya was so weak that she couldn't do anything even if she was killed by Song Shiyu and Gu Tianhang. Now, she wouldn't be as cowardly as she was 3 years ago. You insist on marrying my son, right? Song Shiyu was also angry. What do you think? Baya just asked back. 3 years ago, I thought you were a good girl. It seems that I misjudged you. If I knew you were such a person, I wouldn't have been merciful, Song Shiyu said angrily. It doesn't matter to me at all. I don't care. That's all right. I'm hanging up. Baya hung up the phone before Song Shiyu said anything. Although she said that she didn't care, she still cared about it. After all, that person was Gu Lingqing's mother, the mother of the man that she loved. Baya looked at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing looked forward expressionlessly. I'm sorry, I don't get along well with your mother. Gu Lingqing's eyes were deep. Part of Baya's past information was erased. His parents tried everything to stop him from investigating the past. He guessed what his parents had done. 3 years ago, my parents kidnapped you and used you to force me to marry Su Shaoling, right? Gu Lingqing asked coldly. Your parents thought that you should marry someone better. Maybe they did it out of love for you. Baya said and looked out of the window. She didn't want to sow discord between Gu Lingqing and his parents. They chopped off your little finger, and I also chopped off my own little finger. They used self-mutilation to force my parents to compromise. In the end, I only got engaged to Su Shaoling, Gu Lingqing guessed. Baya looked at Gu Lingqing. Back then, the main reason why Gu Tianheng forced Gu Lingqing to marry Su Shaoling was that Su Zheng had something on Gu Tianheng. In everyone's heart, they didn't want their parents to be bad. She kept this reason in her heart. It wasn't that she was noble, but she didn't want the man she loved to be sad. Everything is in the past now. Can we be considered to have seen the moon after the clouds have parted? Baya said with a smile and changed the topic. Gu Lingqing held Baya's hand and looked at her without saying a word. He was a man of few words, but there were thousands of words in his eyes. Unknowingly, they arrived at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Before we get married, you can ask for anything, Gu Lingqing held her hand and said. I only have one request. Baya thought about it carefully. Gu Lingqing looked at her and asked, what is it? If I ask for a divorce one day, I hope that you can agree. A military marriage can't be divorced, which means that the one who isn't a soldier can't ask for a divorce. However, you can ask for a divorce. Can you agree to it? Baya looked at him and said. Gu Lingqing frowned and his heart tightened. His eyes darkened, as if he had fallen into a frozen lake and felt uncomfortable. You haven't gotten married yet and you're already thinking about a divorce? Everyone who is preparing to get married has never thought about a divorce. However, when it's time for a divorce, they don't think about remarrying. Because when they get married, most people think about the good of the other party. When they get divorced, most people think about the bad of the other party. I think it's better to be more rational before getting married. It'll help the stability of the marriage. What do you think? Baya tried to persuade Gu Lingqing. I think you're too cold sometimes, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. She didn't think the word cold was a good word when it came from his mouth. Perhaps she was cold enough. People who had never experienced love and kinship were born to be so cold. Baya's lips twitched in self-mockery. Why don't? Chapter 198. I've already noted this down. Don't mention it again in the future. Gu Lingqing used a commanding tone. Since she had decided to get married, she had to forget all the unhappy factors today. Baya nodded and smiled. Let's go, dear Mr. Gu. Are you still Mr. Gu? Gu Lingqing was dissatisfied with this title. She was not willing to marry him after all. Then, my husband? Baya asked tentatively. Gu Lingqing slightly raised the corner of his mouth. That's okay. Let's go. Gu Lingqing held her hand and walked to the Civil Affairs Bureau. The morning sun was not strong. It fell on the two of them, and their shadows folded together. Baya realized that Gu Lingqing was actually nervous. His palms were sweaty, and his palms were sticky when holding hers. He walked in, looked around, and walked to the window. "Hello, you're here to get married," Gu Lingqing said to the staff at the window. "Makeup is not allowed. You have to pay $9.90. Is the girl pregnant? If not, you have to go through a routine gynecological examination. In addition, do you have a prenuptial agreement? Do you need to do a property appraisal?" The staff was an impatient person and said a lot of things. "If you're not pregnant, you don't need a prenuptial agreement or a property appraisal," Gu Lingqing said. The staff pushed up his black-rimmed glasses and looked at Gu Lingqing. Baiya didn't say anything. He handed the ID and the residence booklet to the staff. Gu Lingqing also handed over the ID. He could have handed over his military ID, but he didn't want to be too conspicuous, so he just handed over an ordinary ID and residence booklet. The staff thought that Gu Lingqing was quite handsome. She took a few more glances to see if he was a celebrity who came to get married. She had first-hand information. "What's wrong?" Gu Lingqing asked in confusion. "Nothing." The staff lowered his head. She mainly wanted to check if she was registered as unmarried on the computer and if the number on the ID card was the same as the number on the household register. Baiya craned his neck to look at the photo on Gu Lingqing's ID card. Generally speaking, people's ID cards will be very ugly. Yours is not bad. Has it been processed? Baiya asked jokingly. Gu Lingqing cleared his throat and lowered his voice. Be serious. Baiya, how was she not serious? It was just that Gu Lingqing was very serious. After getting married, she acted as if she was facing a great enemy. Her expression was serious, meticulous, and serious. You have to smile when taking photos, Baiya reminded. Before Gu Lingqing could say anything, the impatient staff reminded, don't show your teeth when taking photos. Baiya was amused by the staff and giggled. The staff rolled her eyes at Baiya. Go inside for the premarital checkup. Pay for the groom. Oh. Baiya walked inside. The words, premarital checkup, were written on the door frame. Gu Lingqing took out 10 yuan from his wallet and passed it to the staff. We have a 9999 package. Do you want it? The staff recommended. What's a 999 package? Gu Lingqing was confused. It was his first time getting married in his life. He did not know anything. The 999 package allows you to leave your fingerprint and bring it back as a souvenir. It's very meaningful, the staff explained. Okay. Gu Lingqing was easy to talk to. He took out 100 yuan from his wallet and passed it to the staff. The staff happily took the money and gave Gu Lingqing a change of 1 yuan. Gu Lingqing then put it into the convenient merit box. Are you a celebrity? The staff asked nosily. No, Gu Lingqing replied seriously. Oh, you'll definitely be popular if you become a celebrity. You're so good-looking, the staff exclaimed. Gu Lingqing, when Baiya came out of the premarital checkup room, he saw Gu Lingqing sitting on the sofa and staring at the window without blinking. Baiya followed his gaze and saw a man and a woman standing at the window. What's wrong? Baiya asked. They're here for a divorce. Look, they're not smiling. It means that divorce isn't a happy thing for them, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice and looked at Baiya. Don't mention divorce to me again. Baiya, let's go in and take photos. Gu Lingqing dragged Baiya to the photography room. The photography room was simple. There were 2 chairs opposite the camera. Baiya and Gu Lingqing sat on them. Get closer, the cameraman said. Baiya leaned towards Gu Lingqing. Closer, the cameraman said again. Baiya leaned towards Gu Lingqing. Closer. The cameraman was adjusting the distance between them. Gu Lingqing pressed Baiya's head and leaned towards him. Okay. Move your hands away, the cameraman said in a good mood. Baiya burst into laughter. Gu Lingqing also raised a smile. It was one of the brightest smiles he had ever had in his life. Alright, do you want to make hand masks? Go ahead and get your marriage certificate after you're done, the cameraman reminded them. Bai Ye and Gu Lingqing went out. The staff at the window was waiting for them at the door and took them to make hand masks. The hand mask model was a finished one. It was in the shape of a pink heart and was made of composite plastic. There were roses on the side. The staff tore off a layer of tempered film on the surface of the model. Just put your hands on it. Gu Lingqing and Bai Ye put their hands on it together. This needs to be dried in the dryer. It will take about 5 minutes. Wait here. The staff took the model out. Are there so many things now? Bai Ye asked casually. Gu Lingqing thought of Bai Ye's marriage. He felt a little unbalanced in his heart. It was an indescribable strange feeling. Yes, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Oh. Bai Ye understood. No wonder there were so many things. 5 minutes later, the staff came over and handed a red gift bag to Gu Lingqing. He said, model. Marriage certificate, household register. Your ID cards and a set of gifts from the Civil Affairs Bureau are all inside. When you go back, live a good life. The way a husband and wife get along is in their looks. As long as you don't cheat, gamble, or take drugs, there's nothing you can't do. Thank you. Bai Ye nodded. The staff glanced at Bai Ye and left. Bai Ye took out the marriage certificate. In the photo of the marriage certificate, she and Gu Lingqing were both smiling. They looked very happy. She remembered her previous marriage certificate. At that time, she had forced Su Jiran to marry her. Su Jiran had a look of disdain on his face as he glared at the camera angrily. On the other hand, she was unhappy and pursed her lips. Chapter 199. If marriage was destined to be unlucky from the beginning, one should never climb into the grave, because when he climbed out, he would definitely be covered in injuries and exhausted. She and Gu Lingqing had a good start, and she hoped that there would be a good ending. One for you, one for me. Keep it safe. Bai Ye happily put her ID card, household register, and marriage certificate into her bag. Gu Lingqing looked at her bright eyes and white teeth, and his heart softened a little. This woman, who was a stranger at the beginning, had now become his wife, a woman that he needed to protect and take care of for the rest of his life. As long as he thought that she had become his wife, the corner of his mouth slightly curled up. Shouldn't we keep it together? Bai Ye smiled, took out her marriage certificate and put it in the gift bag. Sorry to trouble you, husband. Gu Lingqing cleared his throat and replied seriously, it's no trouble at all. He. Bai Ye laughed happily. She still remembered the time when she first met him. She asked a lot of questions, and he also looked like he was now, answering them one by one seriously. Actually, Gu Lingqing hadn't changed, but she had changed a lot. Bai Ye laughed and tears flowed out. Gu Lingqing frowned. What's wrong? Bai Ye hugged Gu Lingqing and buried her face in his arms. Her voice was choked. The dream you had was right. I really looked for you. I looked for you for a long time. Gu Lingqing's eyes darkened, and he gently placed his hand on her back. Bai Ye, I'm back. Bai Ye wiped her tears. I've always wanted to find my past memories, but the more I want to find them, the more tired I feel. Now that I have you, I won't force my lost memories. The doctor also said that I might come back at any time, Gu Lingqing explained. I'm here. I'll try to help you with hypnosis. Gu Lingqing rubbed her face. There's a long way to go. There's no hurry. We still have a lot of urgent things to do first. Alright. I'll send you to the research institute now. Take the documents and come to the military in the afternoon. I can ask Lu Shuang to cooperate with you. You two sisters must have endless things to talk about when you're together. Our wedding is already in preparation. I'll let you know when it's ready. Baya remembered that she still owed Su Jiran lunch. It was better to make things clear between her and Su Jiran. Besides, she and Gu Lingqing were already married. It was time for Su Jiran to give up. I can go by myself. I still have something to tell Mu Shaosheng. I will have lunch with them at noon and arrive at the military region at 2 p.m. Baya refused Gu Lingqing's kindness. Gu Lingqing remained silent and fixed his eyes on Baya. What's wrong? Baya asked guiltily. You should enjoy the service of your husband. I hope that you will accept it. If you refuse me, I will feel that there's a distance between us. It's a distance from here to the research institute. I'll send you there, Gu Lingqing confessed. All right then. She nodded. He took her to the research institute. Baya stared straight ahead, enjoying the peace and tranquility in her heart at this moment. Call me half an hour before the end of the meal. I'll send someone to pick you up, Gu Lingqing said. Baya turned her head to look at Gu Lingqing. The sunlight outside the window fell on his resolute face. He was so handsome that it took one's breath away. In the past, she didn't want to trouble others. What he said just now had woken her up. Now, he was her husband. It wasn't trouble. Instead, it was letting him into her life. She didn't treat him as an outsider anymore. All right. I'll call you half an hour before the end of the meal. See you in the afternoon, Baya said gently. I like the food you cook. It's better than what the orderlies cook, Gu Lingqing suddenly said. Baya smiled. If you like the food I cook, I'll cook for you every day. All right. The time that the two of them spent together passed very quickly. Even if they didn't say anything, they wouldn't feel bored. Gu Lingqing saw the research institute from afar. She subconsciously slowed down. Baya looked at the yard number. It had changed from 60 to 40. Although it was slow, there was a warm feeling in her heart. It warmed up the time at this moment. However, no matter how slow she was, they had already reached the building of the research institute. Do you need me to send you up? Gu Lingqing asked, looking at her reluctantly. Baya smiled. Then do you want to move here and work together? We can be Siamese. Don't joke around. Gu Lingqing's expression turned serious. Baya kissed him on the cheek. Hubby, I'm going to work. See you in the afternoon. Gu Lingqing looked at her with a burning gaze. He enjoyed her initiative. Let's go up. Okay, let's go. Baya got out of the car and closed the door for Gu Lingqing. She walked upstairs and didn't notice Su Jiran, who was standing at the window and looking at them. Su Jiran's expression was very bad. It was as cold as December. His face was frozen and emitted a sharp aura. He remembered that Baya had slept with Gu Lingqing and the child. His heart was wrenched. It was very painful, sour and bitter. He was very jealous. He was so jealous that he was going crazy. Baya was his woman. When did he lose her? He wanted her back. It seemed that it was time to take action. Baya walked upstairs. Su Jiran stood in front of her. He didn't look good. He saw the diamond ring on her finger. He grabbed Baya's wrist and raised it up. The diamond was very big and bright. It shone brightly in his eyes. Su Jiran's devilish eyes cracked. He asked, You agreed to his proposal? He only has Zhou Hailan in his heart. Don't you know that? Baya was very calm. I didn't agree to his proposal. I'm already married to him. I even got the marriage certificate. I'll invite you on the day of the banquet. Are you crazy? Su Jiran flung Baya's hand away. He held her shoulders tightly. Gu Lingqing doesn't love you at all. I'll decide whether I love him or not. I don't need others to tell me what to do, Baya said coldly and pushed Su Jiran's hand away. You're married to him. What about me? Baya, can't you see what I've done for you for the past 3 years? I love you. I've turned over a new leaf. I've stopped contacting any other women. You're the only one in my heart. Don't you believe that you're the only one I love? Su Jiran said. He looked at Baya with a pleading tone. I already know why you provoked me back then. Baya stared straight at Su Jiran. It's because he's your father that I showed mercy. For you, I can let go of my hatred. Don't leave me. I'm the one who loves you the most. Su Jiran frowned. Now I love him. Sooner or later, you'll be heavily wounded by him. Believe me, Baya, if you go back on your word now, you probably haven't entered the archives of the Civil Affairs Bureau yet. There's still time. I can think of a way to revoke it. Chapter 200. Baya was shocked. She turned around and looked at Gu Lingqing. He had one hand in his pocket and his steps were heavy. He walked up the stairs step by step and looked at Su Jiran with a strong gaze. His body was shrouded in an imposing manner. Su Jiran narrowed his eyes and glared at him, his eyes filled with hatred. You can't give Baya happiness, Su Jiran said directly. Gu Lingqing walked to Baya and put his arm around Baya's waist. He pulled Baya to his side and announced his ownership. It's not up to you to decide whether I can give her happiness or not. Don't you think you're just saying that the grapes are sour because you can't eat them? Su Jiran gritted his teeth. I'm not going to argue with you. He walked past Gu Lingqing and walked towards the stairs. Gu Lingqing turned around and looked at him condescendingly. Mr. Su, I won't interfere with my wife's right to make friends, but there's a limit to everything. If some people have wild ambitions, I'll have to use extreme measures. When Gu Lingqing said this, he hugged Baya a little tighter. Extreme measures? Su Jiran smiled. He was not afraid at all. On the contrary, his eyes were full of mockery. You can't get love if you're strong, Baya. Su Jiran looked at Baya. Don't forget that you promised to have lunch with him at noon. I'll contact you at noon. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya coldly and frowned. You promised to have lunch with him at noon? When did you promise? Why didn't I know about it? Baya's eyes flickered. She was thinking about what to say. Su Jiran answered for her. To be exact, I agreed to it last night. Gu Lingqing frowned even more. Did you agree to have lunch with him before or after I proposed? Baya guessed that Gu Lingqing was overthinking. Did he think that she agreed to have a meal with Su Jiran because she wanted to develop her relationship with Su Jiran? She was not going to take the blame for this. Baya explained, I have something to tell him, so I made an appointment to meet. If you want to get to the bottom of it, he is blocking Mu Xiaoxing's case. I only agreed to eat with him in a compromise way. Baya told the truth and looked at Su Jiran. However, Su Jiran left through the stairs. Perhaps the scene of Baya and Gu Lingqing standing together was too beautiful for him to look at. Gu Lingqing looked more relaxed than before. He's your ex-husband and he's chasing after you. He even asked you to cancel the marriage with me. If we weren't married, you would have the right to be pursued. Now that you're my wife, shouldn't you deliberately avoid it? Baya, I'm a human being, not a god. I have 7 emotions and 6 desires, and I'm a normal man. You eat with another man behind my back, and he is your ex-husband, and he even wants to meet your ex-husband who wants to remarry you. I will also be jealous. Gu Lingqing lectured Baya. He said it seriously, but his jealousy was flying. She felt embarrassed. I know. If he asks me out next time, I'll refuse. Baya promised. There's a next time. Gu Lingqing's voice became sharp. But Baya felt warm in her heart. She liked the feeling of being valued and cared for by him. He asked me out, so he has the initiative. I can't do anything about it. But I'll refuse. I think I've already told him what I should say, Baya explained. Gu Lingqing nodded and didn't keep staring at her question. Go to Mu Xiaoxing's office and get the documents. Let's go to the military area. We don't have to stay outside to eat. There's food in the military area. Gu Lingqing said overbearingly. Got it. Baya walked towards Mu Xiaoxing's office. She knocked on the door and pushed it open. When Mu Xiaoxing saw Baya, it was as if he had seen his savior. Baya, you came just in time. Please save me. I'm still at my wit's end about this case. I promised Deputy General Manager Su that the time to solve the case is tomorrow. Baya walked in and sat opposite Mu Xiaoxing. She asked, what's the information you got from the forensics department and the police station? Mu Xiaoxing handed all the information to Baya. Unimaginable, unimaginable. Mu Xiaoxing repeatedly sighed. When collecting, the evidence was badly damaged. There's very little useful information, and the time of death can't be determined. There's one piece of information. Tony was cut very neatly by a sharp weapon. The cut was so neat that it made people's hair stand on end. It didn't look like a human being, but more like a machine. However, the surveillance camera didn't record Tony leaving Su Xiaoling's room. Su Xiaoling said that she was very angry at that time. She wanted to kill Tony, but she didn't have the courage to do it. She asked Tony to leave, but Tony shamelessly refused to leave. He wanted to have sex with Su Xiaoling. Su Xiaoling was so angry that she left. Mu Xiaoxing pushed his glasses and scratched his head. You said that Su Xiaoling left before Tony. Baya heard something strange. After she left, did she go back? Mu Xiaoxing shook his head. The video did capture Su Xiaoling leaving, but it didn't capture her coming back. Don't you think it's strange? There's nothing strange about it. This situation is very simple. Gu Lingqing's voice sounded. Baya looked behind him. Gu Lingqing also walked in. Why are you here? Baya asked. You took too long to take a document, Gu Lingqing said confidently. Baya, Mu Xiaoxing saw that another big shot had come and immediately nodded. 2 big shots came to his place in one day. It was really an honor to have 2 big shots here. Then what does the chief mean? Why don't you think it's strange? Mu Xiaoxing asked respectfully. Tony has a strong body. He used to be an extreme sports enthusiast. He often participated in group activities such as parkour. Su Xiaoling's rented house is on the 3rd floor. The height of the 3rd floor is easy for an extreme athlete. So, he can jump out of the window and go anywhere, Gu Lingqing explained. A place, Gu Lingqing explained. Yes. He dismembered the body. First, it's convenient to dispose of the body. Second, he has a deep hatred for Tony. Before Gu Lingqing finished, Mu Xiaoxing interrupted, yes. Not only did he throw the body into the toilet, but he also stuffed Tony's penis into his mouth. Then it's easy to investigate. Tony has syphilis and has infected many people. The person who killed him is also a patient. Next, I think Baya will give you a much clearer answer than me. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya. Tony had syphilis and infected many people. The person who killed him was also a patient. Next, I think Baya will give you a much clearer answer than I did. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya. Mu Xiaoxing also looked at Baya. Chapter 201. Baya, I'm curious. How did you determine that the murderer wasn't alone? Also, how did you determine that the family conditions were ordinary? How could you infer that it was a former girlfriend? What's your basis? Tony was 190 centimeters tall and weighed 170 centimeters. Do you think a person could carry his body? Besides, the location of the corpse run was very remote. It was a public toilet in an old neighborhood. The location of this public toilet was also very remote. Even cars couldn't enter. The murderer was very familiar with the terrain. He could even know when there was no one around. Even if he met someone, his appearance might not be suspicious. Do you think a rich person would appear in such a remote public toilet? Tony was a diamond star. The women who dated him were either rich or expensive. There were also beautiful women like Su Xiaoling. Every bullet he fired was very valuable. He wouldn't waste it on women. Then, there was another kind of woman that he was willing to waste his bullets on. She was either still in love or abandoned. Anyway, it must be a woman he dated before. As for the cutting equipment, if it was someone else's, it would be too bold of them to use it to cut the body. Besides, the corpse was stored in an ordinary black plastic bag. Most people wouldn't have this kind of plastic bag, unless they were selling fish or meat. Such shops would give them to them. Baiya analyzed methodically. You only suspect that it was 2 people. Could it be more than 2 people? Mu Xiaoxing guessed. Impossible. First of all, it would be difficult for anyone to talk about that disease. Second, it was his ex-girlfriend. Her circle was actually a bit far away from Tony's. It was unlikely that she would come into contact with Tony's diamond clients. So, it was impossible for her to cooperate with a diamond client. Mu Xiaoxing listened to Bai Ya's words and suddenly understood. Bai Ya, this is criminal psychology. You even learned this? You're too awesome. No wonder you're so famous in the circle. Mu Xiaoxing praised. Please do your work. Gu Lingqing reminded Mu Xiaoxing. Mu Xiaoxing looked at Gu Lingqing. Suddenly, he remembered that there was still something he hadn't done. He said to Bai Ya, this morning, the relevant department sent a document. I haven't read it yet. Relevant departments? Bai Ya looked at Gu Lingqing. I'll go and see what it is later. I'm too busy with Tony's case. I'm not in the mood to read it. Mu Xiaoxing flipped through the documents. Gu Lingqing, Mu Xiaoxing saw the stamp of the special military region at the bottom of the document and did not dare to say anything. He looked at Gu Lingqing guiltily and handed the document to Bai Ya. Go. Thank you for this case. Hee hee. Mu Xiaoxing laughed dryly. I'll contact you later. Bai Ya took the document and put it in her bag. We'll go first, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice, turned around, and walked out of Mu Xiaoxing's office. Mu Xiaoxing waves to Bai Ya. You can call me if you need anything. I promised you, and I won't go back on my word. I'm doing psychological tests for the soldiers in the military, so I still have time to help you, Bai Ya said. Well, thank you, Bai Ya. Bai Ya followed Gu Lingqing out of the research institute and got into his car. He asked darkly, what did you promise Mu Xiaoxing again? Bai Ya took a deep breath and said without hiding anything, 3 years ago, I wanted to go to a famous university abroad to study psychology. I asked Mu Xiaoxing to do it. He paid for all the expenses. We agreed that I would work for him for a few years after I returned to China. Mu Xiaoxing is kind and generous. He doesn't need me to work for him, but I can't forget my roots. I made an agreement with him to help him with 20 psychological counseling cases. Mu Xiaoxing is a big tree that attracts the wind. His reputation is too great, so many police stations will ask him for help. In fact, psychological research is divided into many kinds. Criminal psychology is a clearly distinguished subject. I happened to learn it when I was abroad, so I can help him. He should specially recruit this kind of expert, Gu Lingqing suggested. In our country, people who specialize in this field will go to the police station. Now, with the outbreak of more and more psychological problems, many departments are paying attention to it. Basically, there will be such people in the police station. If the police station finds Mu Xiaoxing, it means that with their current ability, they can't solve it. So, as the dean of the research institute, Mu Xiaoxing must find an expert in the industry. Otherwise, it will be meaningless, Bai Ya explained. Gu Lingqing paused for a while. What were you going to do after you accepted the 20 tasks? Open a psychological clinic and see 1 or 2 patients a day. It's enough to maintain my glamorous life. My consultation fees abroad are very high, Baiya said lightly. You and Mu Xiaosheng are in the same line. He agreed. Gu Lingqing was surprised. Baiya raised the corner of his mouth. He mainly targets enterprises, institutions, and civilians. His research institute will have a lot of subsidies from the state. So, if the police station wants people, he must give them. I'm different. The people who come to see me are either rich or respectable. Ordinary people look down on me. So, I actually don't have any competition with him. Of course, if he can't handle it, he will transfer it to me. If they need my help, I will not refuse. Will you have any business? If not, I can use the name of the military to hire you, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. I don't like to be restricted. I want freedom. Freedom is good. I can do whatever I want. Gu Lingqing looked at her deeply. It's up to you if you like it. If you don't want to work, it's okay. I will support you. Baiya smiled knowingly. Women still needed to be independent financially. They needed something to do. They shouldn't put 100% of their heart on their husband. Her husband would feel suffocated and she would be unhappy. She would feel neglected for small things. If the relationship was too tense, it would break up. She should do her own things. Even if one day, their relationship broke up and her husband didn't want her, at least she still had a job and a career. They returned to the military base. The orderly brought over 3 dishes and a soup. There were shredded pork, sweet and sour pork ribs, tomato and eggs, and black-bone chicken soup. Let's do it at 3 in the afternoon. I will gather some people to help you with the psychological plan. Is that okay? Gu Lingqing asked. Yes, it's okay. You need to have some understanding of the structure of the military. I will give you the information later. Baiya nodded. Lieutenant Colonel Song came over nervously. Gu Lingqing looked at him. What's wrong? Chief, I have something to tell you. Lieutenant Colonel Song lowered his head with a troubled expression. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing and walked over. She didn't want to listen to their military information. She lowered her head and ate. After listening to Lieutenant Colonel Song's report, Gu Lingqing was shocked. He was too excited that his hands were trembling. Chapter 202. Baiya nodded. He left in a hurry, clenching his fists and furrowing his brows. His eyes were misty. Baiya was a little worried about him. His expression was very abnormal. She walked to the window and watched as Gu Lingqing strode out. He didn't even see the soldiers greet him as he got into the car. Because Gu Lingqing left in a hurry, he didn't give her the information. She didn't know if Gu Lingqing still had time for the meeting in the afternoon to discuss the psychological test plan. After eating, she lay on the bed and played with her phone. Mu Xiaosheng called. Baiya answered, What's wrong, Xiaosheng? Baiya, you're really good at predicting things. We've already caught Tony's ex-girlfriend. Their family owns a raw meat processing factory. She confessed to killing Tony. She and Tony used to be a couple, but her parents didn't like Tony, so she broke up with him. She married her current husband and had a son. Then, Tony hooked up with her and they rekindled their relationship. She didn't expect Tony to have syphilis and he infected her, and she infected her husband. Her husband flew into a rage out of humiliation and started a murder plan. That day, Tony left Su Xiaoling's place and received a call for a date. She said that her husband wasn't at home and asked him to go to her house. She even made Tony drink alcohol mixed with drugs. Tony fainted and they put him in the freezer to freeze him to death. They're cutting him up with machines, Mu Xiaosheng narrated. What about their child? Isn't he an orphan now? Baiya's heart ached for this innocent child. This child is Tony's after a DNA test. When we found her, the child had already been frozen to death by her husband, Mu Shaoxing said sadly. After hanging up, Baiya felt a little sad. People should never do anything wrong. Otherwise, if they didn't take revenge now, there would be retribution in the future. If Tony's girlfriend didn't despise him and they got married, it would still be Tony's. Tony wasn't emotionally affected and had a partner he loved deeply. He might not have gone down the path of a male prostitute. Tony's girlfriend shouldn't have married her current husband with someone else's child. No man could tolerate his wife having another man's child. Just like she did in the past. If she hadn't insisted on giving birth to the child wouldn't have become a permanent pain in her heart. Baiya's mood became bad. She knew that she couldn't let her imagination run wild anymore. Otherwise, her illness would act up again. She turned on her computer, ready to do some homework and divert her thoughts. A text message rang. She subconsciously took a look at it. It was a picture of Gu Lingqing. The clothes he was wearing were also what he was wearing today. He was hugging a girl tightly. Baiya's heart tightened as she clicked on the photo. Because Gu Lingqing was holding the girl, only Gu Lingqing's face and the girl's back could be seen. The girl was wearing a red long-sleeved dress. She was tall and thin, and her long hair was tied into a ponytail. Ding dong, the second message was sent. Baiya opened it. Gu Lingqing's eyes were filled with tears as he hugged the girl tightly. Baiya also cried, and tears flowed down her cheeks. The third photo was quickly sent. Gu Lingqing held the girl's shoulder and kissed the girl's forehead. In the fourth photo, Gu Lingqing carried the girl into his car. In the fifth photo, Gu Lingqing carried the girl to the hotel. The name of the hotel was Jojo Interstellar Hotel. Another text message came, they are in the 2108 presidential suite of Jojo Interstellar Hotel. If you want to stop anything, go quickly. Baiya threw her phone on the ground. It would take her at least an hour to get to Jojo Interstellar Hotel. What could she stop? She couldn't stop anything. When her mind and body were no longer with her, would it be useful for her to stop them? She thought of her and Su Jiran's wedding, Gu Lingqing's betrayal 3 years ago, and those photos. No wonder Gu Lingqing left in such a hurry. No wonder the things that had been arranged couldn't be done. Her heart was filled with overwhelming anger, grievance, and sadness. These flames rushed directly to her brain. She couldn't control the chaos in her mind. For a moment, she felt that she was still in the hellish marriage with Su Jiran, lonely and helpless. For a moment, she felt that she was still in her Zhou Hailan time after Gu Lingqing's accident, and her heart was aching and she was about to despair. Gradually, she remembered that she had lived for more than 3 years. The man she fell in love with again still betrayed her body, and betrayed her heart. No one liked her, no one loved her, and no one would protect her. She was just a psychopath. Yes, she was not only a psychiatrist, but also a psychopath. She was hiding and numbing herself, but no matter how numb she was, she couldn't deceive herself. She was a psychopath, just like her mother. Baiya burst into tears. She threw the lamp, the vase, and the glass. She threw her computer, the bed sheets, the quilt, and everything that could be smashed and couldn't be smashed on the ground. Yesterday, she had just made love with Gu Lingqing on this bed. Now she felt extremely disgusted when she thought about it. The things were too messy. When she went to get the bonsai on the windowsill, she tripped herself and fell to the ground. The sharp porcelain pieces entered her flesh and blood. At that moment, it was very painful, and it hurt so much that her reason returned to her mind. Fresh blood flowed out. Baiya looked at the mess in the room and knew that her illness was acting up. Her tears were still flowing, and her heart was bleeding. If she died like this, would it be too ugly? Lu Shuang would be sad. Her mother would be helpless. Gu Lingqing would be filled with disgust and hatred whenever he mentioned her because she had died in his place, dirtying his things and adding to his troubles. She had to die, but not here. Baya endured the pain and got up. The blood had dyed her clothes red. She unbuttoned her clothes and looked at her body. There were many wounds. Fortunately, only a porcelain piece broke her clothes and pierced into her flesh. Baya pulled out the porcelain piece, and the blood flowed faster. She chose a white dress from the suitcase, tore it, and tied up the wound. She couldn't let Gu Lingqing's orderly come in. Otherwise, the orderly would definitely tell Gu Lingqing. She still wanted to keep the last bit of her dignity. She didn't want anyone to know that she had a mental problem. She took out all the clothes in her suitcase, threw them on the sofa, and put all the pieces on the ground into the suitcase. She wiped the blood from the bed sheet and threw the bed sheet into the suitcase. Fortunately, the quilt was not stained with blood. She carried the quilt to the sofa. When she stood up, she began to feel dizzy because of the loss of blood. Chapter 203. Baya sat on the sofa and rested for a while. Her eyelids drooped. She couldn't faint. She shook her head and stood up. She put on a bright lipstick on her pale lips and changed into clean clothes. She wrapped herself in a black trench coat. In this way, even if she bled, no one would notice. She pulled her suitcase out and said to the orderly, "Hello, I'm sorry. My suitcase is broken. It means a lot to me. I'm going out to repair it. Could you please call a car for me? Also, the bed sheets are dirty. Please change them." "Oh, okay. I'll call someone to drive a car over now. Please wait for 5 minutes." The orderly went to make the call. Baya walked into the kitchen. Gu Lingqing could give special treatment here. She took out some candies and took a big bite. She warmed it up in her mouth and swallowed it. "Yes," the orderly reported. "Thank you," Baya said calmly and pulled the suitcase past the orderly. The orderly saw that the 4 wheels were all good and the zipper was not broken. Where was it broken? However, he heard that this lady might be the future wife of the chief, so he didn't dare to ask. Baya got in the car and almost fainted. "Please go to Shuiyu International. I'm a little sleepy and want to sleep for a while. When you get there, remember to wake me up." "I'm a little sleepy." You must wake me up," Baya said to the driver. "Okay." In fact, she could go to Lu Shuang's place. Lu Shuang was a doctor. He must have the medicine and tools she needed. However, Lu Shuang would be worried when he saw her injured. Besides, Lu Shuang was too straightforward. She closed her eyes and fainted. The orderly went into the room to change the bedsheets. He found that the original bedsheets were gone. He couldn't find them. The lamp on the chief's bedside table, the cup, and the vase were all gone. These things were not valuable. The vase was only dozens of yuan. It was useless for the lady to steal it. Should he report this to the chief or not? Hello. Wake up, wake up. Baya was woken up. He had a terrible headache and his lips were cracked. He looked at the soldier weakly. The soldier asked worriedly, "Are you all right? You don't look well." Baya smiled. "I didn't sleep well last night." "Thank you. You can go back first." "I'll go back myself." "All right then." The soldier looked at Baya suspiciously. Baya got out of the car. Feeling a little dizzy, he supported himself against the car. The soldier was carrying the luggage, so he didn't notice Baya's abnormality. "Then I'll be leaving first. If you want me to pick you up, you can just call the chief's orderly," the soldier reminded. "Thank you," Baya said softly. Watching the car leave, she fainted. After some time, she opened her eyes and saw a gorgeous crystal chandelier. "You're awake," Su Jiran said softly. Baya looked at him. His eyes were filled with pity. "Why am I here?" Baya asked suspiciously. She wanted to sit up. Su Jiran pressed down on her shoulders. You're lying down. You're badly injured and have a fever. How did this happen? Did Gu Lingqing hit you? Baya shook her head. I accidentally fell. What time is it now? 5:20 p.m., Su Jiran said. Baya pulled out the needle on her wrist. I have to go. I have a meeting in the afternoon. There are many things I haven't done. Su Jiran looked at Baya with heartache, but he didn't force her. Alright, I'll send you back. Where's my bag and suitcase? Baya asked. They're outside in front of the sofa. Su Jiran turned around. Baya went out. She saw her bag and suitcase. She took out her phone from her bag. There were a few calls. They were all from her former clients. There were also calls from Lu Shuang, but there was no call from Gu Lingqing. Her heart was very sour. She used coldness to hide her sadness. If she guessed correctly, Gu Lingqing should still be with that girl. However, no matter what, she wanted to confront him face to face. Su Jiran looked at Baya deeply. Let's go. Baya carried the suitcase out and poured everything into the dustbin. Then, she carried the empty suitcase back. When she reached the entrance of the military base, it was already 6:30 p.m. She looked at her phone. There was still no call from Gu Lingqing. Ask the people inside to come out and pick you up. Otherwise, you won't be able to go in, Su Jiran reminded her. Baya unlocked the car and got out. Su Jiran didn't get out of the car, but he lowered the window and reminded her, don't forget to take your medicine. You're still having a fever. You're a doctor. You know better than anyone else. Also, I'll be waiting for you to come back. Baya watched Su Jiran's car leave. She picked up her phone and stared at Gu Lingqing's number for a while. Finally, she called him. Hello, Xiaoya. I have something to do. I'll be back later. You can eat first. Don't wait for me. I've arranged the meeting at 8 a.m. tomorrow, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baya suddenly felt that she didn't want to say anything. She hung up the phone. Humans are all cheap. She wanted to say that it was okay. I have something to do too. I might not be back for a few days. However, she wanted to ask him personally. What was he thinking? Who was that girl? In the end, she was unwilling to give up. She took a taxi to a 5-star hotel and asked for 2110 Presidential Suite, which was just opposite Gu Lingqing's room. She felt that she was a pervert now. She looked through the peephole and at the opposite door like a jealous woman. She hated her behavior very much. However, if she didn't do it, she couldn't get over the barrier in her heart. She waited and waited. At 10:20 p.m., a delivery man knocked on Gu Lingqing's door. Gu Lingqing opened the door and went in with the food. Baya then remembered that she hadn't had dinner either. However, she didn't want to eat. At 12 p.m., Gu Lingqing finally came out. Baya opened the door and looked out. Gu Lingqing had taken a shower. His hair was still wet. He walked quickly to the elevator. In her heart, all the perseverance collapsed. It was as if a mountain had finally been crossed. It pressed her heart into the dark ground. Baya closed the door and lay down on the bed dispiritedly. At this time, she felt very tired. Because of standing for a long time, her feet were tired and sore. The surroundings were very quiet. It was so quiet that she could hear her own breathing. This was the arrangement of fate. Even if she didn't do anything against reason and nature. What she wanted was very simple. Really simple. She wanted a happy life. After all, she coveted something that didn't belong to her. That was why she was living such a painful life now. She looked at the phone. There was still no Gu Lingqing's number on the phone. In fact, when she suddenly hung up the phone, Gu Lingqing should have known that she was angry. Chapter 204. She didn't have to love someone who didn't care about her. Baya made a decision, stood up, and walked into the bathroom. Looking at herself in the mirror, she tapped her fingers on the sink. Baya, don't be sad. Everyone has the right to choose. Whether he loves you or not is not something you can control, and you can't control it. A melon that is forcibly twisted is not sweet. Forced love will only end in tragedy. Only you know the pain in between. But as long as you don't love him, you won't be hurt, and you won't feel wronged. Whoever he loves has nothing to do with you. You just have to remember that no one in this world loves you. You can only love yourself. Don't kill yourself, don't despair, don't hurt others, and don't hurt yourself. Baya retracted her hand, and the surroundings became quiet again. Her eyes dimmed, and she calmed down. Alright, she failed to hypnotize herself. She still felt the pain in her heart, and the sorrow that felt like it was being cut by a knife. At the same time, she felt sad that she had to use hypnosis to numb herself. It was a pity that she knew too well that she was hypnotizing herself, but she couldn't do it. Baya brushed her teeth and lay on the bed. She closed her eyes and told herself not to think about anything. Her heart was still hurting. She picked up her phone and dialed an 11-digit number. She didn't know where the person was from, whether it was a man or a woman, an old man or a child. She just wanted to talk to a stranger. After that, she might not be as sad as she was now. The phone rang 3 times, and the other party picked up. Hello, who is this? It was a man's voice. His voice was deep, and it sounded very steady. Hello, may I ask, did I disturb your rest? Baya said apologetically. What's the matter? Speak, the other party said straightforwardly. Baya felt that her behavior was very abrupt. She was in a bad mood, and she thought that she could talk to a stranger and spit on him. That way, she wouldn't feel as stressed as she was now. But she realized that she couldn't say it at all. Sorry to disturb you. Baya hung up. The other party called again, and his tone wasn't very good. What's the matter? Speak. I just want to talk to someone. You're sick. Baya's lips curled up, and her eyes were moist. She said calmly, yes, I'm sick, mentally ill. Ever since I came back, I've been acting more frequently. I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't have any energy after that, and suddenly, I wake up. Oh, it's me again. You? The other party asked. Yes. Baya suddenly wanted to laugh. She made a random phone call and ended up calling a patient. My first husband married me because he wanted revenge. I lived a sexless marriage for 3 years, watching him having fun with other women every day. Eventually, we divorced, my Maya, aunt, love, tease, to do, to say. I was saved by someone else. I looked at my friend crying, and I suddenly felt that I couldn't let my loved ones be in pain and my enemies be happy. I chose to study psychology overseas. From then on, I knew that I had a psychological problem. I wanted to save myself, so I became a famous psychologist. I can cure others, but I can't cure myself. I married the man who lost his memory. On the first day of our marriage, I saw him with another woman. My heart was in so much pain that I wished I didn't have a heart. Only then would I feel better. I tried to hypnotize myself, but I failed. Baya said all the pain in her heart. After that, she felt better. It was as if a tight string had been loosened. The other party was silent. Thank you for listening to me. It's late, I won't disturb you anymore. Go to bed early. People who stay up late have a short life. That's true, Baya said gently. You're a psychologist? The man asked. Baya thought that since he listened to her nagging for free, she should return the favor. I'm a psychologist who can't treat my own illness. If you're willing to believe me, I can try to treat you for free. I lose my temper easily. Once I lose my temper, I'll smash things. I'll scold people. I'll scold my parents, my brother, and my girlfriend. Now, I've been deserted by everyone. I feel that none of the employees in my company like me. Sometimes, I want to change, but I just can't. I listen to my employees and call me a devil, a madman, a pervert, and so on, the man said in confusion. From his voice, Baya could tell that he didn't seem to have been woken up by her. He was very quiet on the other side. His voice was firm and steady. He didn't drink. You're living alone now. It's 12:30 at night, and you're still working. You're a person who is very serious about work and has a strong sense of responsibility. You're very sensitive. You've enjoyed glory that no one else has. You've also experienced many setbacks and been looked down upon by others. You're very conceited, and you're very ambitious. You care a lot about what others think of you. You're very tired. When you lose your temper, it might be because your employees don't meet your requirements. You feel that you're far from your goal, and you feel that you're a failure. And what you don't want to be the most is a failure, Baya analyzed. You know me. The man was very surprised. I don't know you. You think that a lot of people are staring at you and watching you make a fool of yourself. In fact, they don't care about you at all. They just look at you after meals. The ones who really care about you are those who care about you even though they're scolded by you. They don't leave you. And such people are actually by your side. The man was silent. One day, when you're very successful and you flaunt your success to the whole world, you'll realize that no one is willing to look at you. Even if you find someone to tell them how successful you are, no one wants to hear it, especially those who knew you before or those who used to despise you. Do you know why? Baya asked in return. Because my success will make them sad and uncomfortable, the man said. Yes, this is human nature. Not only will they not worship you, but they'll also be jealous of you. What's more frightening is that they'll hate you. You've used 100% of your effort to hurt your loved ones, but you'll be hated by others. Is it interesting? Baya explained. I think what you said makes sense. Don't be too radical. Live a good life. Under the premise of living a good life, slowly do your business. Let you become the benefit of others. You'll get help from everyone. When you reach a certain height, everyone will hope that you're better. Because when you're better, they'll be better. Slow down. Sometimes, mistakes are good things. They give you experience so that you don't make mistakes when you're successful. That way, you'll never fall, Baya said gently. I feel that after hearing what you said, I'm suddenly a lot more optimistic. I'm not depressed anymore. You can cure others, but why can't you cure yourself? I don't know, Baya said. His phone rang. There was a call. Chapter 205. I'm not studying psychology, but I think that since that man has already cheated on you, it's fine if you don't want him. You can always wait for someone who treats you wholeheartedly. The key is to be willing to give up, the man said. Thank you, I have a call. I'll hang up first. Baya hung up the phone. She looked at the caller ID of Gu Lingqing and didn't answer. When people are impulsive, angry, wronged, or angry, it's best to calm down for 5 minutes. Sometimes, sharp words will only make the other party sad, and when the other party is sad, you might not feel better. Especially when the other party is your family, friend, colleague, boss, or lover. Gu Lingqing called again, and Baya only answered it. Where are you? Gu Lingqing asked, sounding a little tired. Baya thought, when this man used up all his strength and patience on other women. If she lost her strength and patience, what was the use of throwing a tantrum? The other party will feel annoyed, feel that she has nothing good about her, and see her as painful. It's human nature to avoid pain and pursue happiness. More importantly, when a girl loses her temper, it's to make a guy change and care. He won't change, and he won't care. Then, she will hurt herself when she loses her temper. I'm outside, I have something to deal with, Baya said lightly. Okay, see you tomorrow. Baya twitched the corner of her mouth. He's not even willing to talk. He didn't ask what she is dealing with and if she needs help. Ha! Men are the most heartless animals, no one can compare. I'm hanging up, Baya said softly. She hung up the phone, turned it off, and lay on the bed. The clearer it was, the more she knew everything, but in fact, the more painful it was. She knew that she couldn't sleep. No one loved her, so she had to cherish herself. She took out the medicine from her bag, took it, and lay on the bed. When she woke up the next day, she had a splitting headache, a dry throat, and her eyes hurt so much that she couldn't open them. She seemed to have a serious fever. She looked at her phone. It was already 10 o'clock. She got up from the bed, wobbling as if she was stepping on cotton. After brushing her teeth and washing up, she took a taxi to the nearby hospital. When she got out of the car, she saw Gu Lingqing's car pass her. He got out of the car and opened the passenger door. He carried a girl out and walked towards the hospital. She sat in the taxi and stared at Gu Lingqing's disappearing figure. If she wasn't his wife, if they were strangers, or if he didn't agree to marry her, she wouldn't be as sad as she was now. As long as she thought about how similar scenes would appear in her future married life, she felt like she was in purgatory. Just thinking about it made her tremble all over. She did not want such a life. She dug out her phone from her bag, her hands trembling. "Beauty, do you want to get off?" the driver asked. "Let's go to the First People's Hospital," Baya said to the driver. The driver drove to the First People's Hospital. Baya dialed Su Jiran's number. "Today is the second day of my marriage with Gu Lingqing. Do you have any way to help me cancel the marriage? I don't want to marry him." "Yes, your marriage information with him hasn't been entered into the computer. As long as you steal the marriage certificate now, you won't be married. You won't be able to find any information about your marriage. Also, I have to tell you that he didn't use the military certificate to marry you. So, your marriage is considered a normal one. It's easy to deal with," Su Jiran said with a smile on his face. His eyes were full of smiles. This time, Gu Lingqing was really out of the game. "Okay, thank you," Baya said weakly as she had a fever. "Just treat me to a meal." "Baya, you already owe me 2 meals." "Okay. The most important thing is to get the marriage certificate as soon as possible," Su Jiran reminded her. "Okay." Baya hung up the phone. She was about to faint. She was afraid that she wouldn't be able to hold on when she went to the hospital to register. She saw a private clinic. "Just drop me off in front." Baya took out 50 yuan and passed it to the driver. "Keep the change." "Thank you." She staggered towards the clinic and asked the doctor to prepare some medicine and powder. "Please find a nurse to help me change the bandage." The doctor saw that he was an expert. Anyway, it wouldn't affect his money, so he agreed. Baya lay on the bed and fainted. When she wanted to come over, it was already 3 hours later. Her wound was covered with medicine and the nurse bandaged it. The medicine was also ready. "Hello, madam. Your phone has been ringing a few times," the nurse reminded her with a smile. The service of a private clinic was really good. "Thank you." Baya got up from the bed. She was still a little dizzy. It seemed that she had to come over tomorrow. She took out her phone from her bag and saw that it was Gu Lingqing's call. She called him back. "When are you coming back?" Gu Lingqing asked directly. "1 hour. Get the soldiers to pick me up at the door. Otherwise, I might not be able to come in," Baya said calmly. "Okay." Baya put on exquisite makeup in the private clinic. She covered up her haggard and serious illness without a trace. She called back. The person who picked her up at the door was Gu Lingqing. She looked at the tall and strong man in front of her coldly. On the first day of their marriage, he brought a woman to the hotel. On the second day of their marriage, he brought a woman to the hospital. It was very ironic that she was in the same hotel as him. She went to the same hospital as him. The difference was that they were showing off their love, while she was alone. It was impossible to say that she wasn't sad. It was also impossible to say that she didn't feel heartache. Sadness and heartache were useless in front of a heartless man. It was easier to give up. She didn't want to live another 3 years of purgatory of marriage. In another 3 years, she would be 30. All her youth would be wasted. Baya got into Gu Lingqing's car. She didn't mention a word about what happened yesterday and this morning. Gu Lingqing didn't ask about her either. "Where's our marriage certificate? Where did you put it?" Baya looked ahead and asked casually. "In the bedside cabinet." "What's wrong?" Gu Lingqing asked and looked at her. Baya raised a coquettish smile at him. There was sarcasm, determination, sorrow, and relief in her eyes. "Nothing. I was just asking." "Okay. Have you eaten?" Gu Lingqing asked. She thought of the takeout that he and the girl ordered in the middle of the night. She felt disgusted to eat with him. She didn't have dinner yesterday. She didn't have breakfast this morning. She didn't have lunch either. However, she didn't want to eat with him. She didn't want him to watch her eat. "I've eaten. I've arranged the meeting at 4 in the afternoon. I've prepared the information. You can take a look before the meeting." "Yes," Baya responded indifferently. She just wanted to get the marriage certificate and destroy it. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya and held her hand. Baya seemed to have been electrocuted. She frowned and pulled her hand out with intense emotions. She looked at him defensively. Chapter 206. What's wrong? Baya narrowed his eyes and looked at Gu Lingqing. This man was very shrewd. There was nothing strange on his unchanging face. He hugged another woman yesterday and stayed up late into the night with another woman. Did he not feel guilty or uneasy towards her? Or did he think that he was a high and mighty king and that any love he gave to a woman was charity, so there was no need to feel guilty or explain? She couldn't understand him, she couldn't understand him, she couldn't see through him. He had never wanted her to walk into his heart. He never cried for her, even when she almost died. But he cried tears of excitement for that girl and his lips left marks on her face. "Forget it, forget it, forget it. It's nothing. Something happened recently and I'm not in a good mood. I hope it won't affect you," Baya said with a smile. Gu Lingqing frowned. "Do you have to be so sarcastic to me? We're husband and wife. Maybe you don't know me. I've always been weird, cold, indifferent, mean to people, and unfriendly to people. From the first day you met me, you knew I was like this. If you want a divorce, it's still not too late. The Civil Affairs Bureau hasn't registered our letters yet." "Sigh," Baya said lazily. "You want a divorce, right?" Gu Lingqing raised his voice. Baya suddenly felt that it was funny, so she really laughed. He was the one who wanted a divorce now. In the end, he cleared all his mistakes. Whatever, she didn't care. It was fine as long as she could be free. Baya looked at him. "Let's talk after the meeting," Gu Lingqing ordered. His face was pale and he gripped the steering wheel tightly. He used so much strength that his nails turned white. Baya looked at his hand indifferently. Was he angry? Was it because of her arrogance or because of his guilt? In fact, in her eyes, he had no right to be angry. Talk after the meeting. Was he afraid that she wouldn't work for him after the divorce? "Don't worry, I'm clear about my work," Baya said meaningfully. Gu Lingqing pursed his lips and said nothing. Soon, they arrived at his residence. Baya got out of the car and walked in. He turned around and looked at Gu Lingqing. His cell phone rang. He glanced at her, and the panic in his eyes was caught by Baya. The corners of Baya's mouth curled up slightly. She turned around and walked into the room. Gu Lingqing went outside to answer the call. Hailan, what's wrong? Lingqing, I'm so scared, where are you? Zhou Hailan cried. I'll send someone to accompany you later. I have something to do here. Don't you want me anymore? I'm so ugly now, I know I don't deserve you. Ah. Ah. Don't come any closer, ah. Zhou Hailan screamed. Gu Lingqing heard the sound of things smashing on the other side of the phone and hung up. Gu Lingqing furrowed his brows and looked at his room. Baya was standing at the window, looking at him with a smile. She saw his worry, heartache, pity, and the tenderness in his words. A flash of guilt flashed across Gu Lingqing's eyes, and then reappeared in his deep and distant eyes. Baya closed the curtains and took out the 2 marriage certificates from the drawer of the bedside table. She opened them. Baya was smiling happily on the marriage certificate, just like a flower. Silly. Baya said softly. She tore the 2 marriage certificates and threw them into the toilet, flushing them away. Her state of mind gradually calmed down. She was in no position to blame him now, nor was she in any position to be sad. That was good. When Baya came out of the washroom, Gu Lingqing opened the door and came in. Well, I've already arranged the meeting in the afternoon. I have something to do, so I need to go out for a while, Gu Lingqing said with a twinkle in his eyes. Baya smiled. Will you be back tonight? I'll be back a little late, Gu Lingqing said with a frown. I've taken up 5 minutes of your time. Do you know where I was yesterday? Gu Lingqing was silent for a moment. Although we're married, you still have relative freedom. I believe you won't go overboard. Relative freedom? Baya nodded. Gu Lingqing's words were very good. What he meant was that as his wife, she should give him relative freedom. I was in room 2110 of the 9 States Interstellar Hotel after 9 o'clock last night. You might not know where room 2110 is. To be exact, it's opposite room 2108, Baya said with a smile. Finally, a crack appeared in Gu Lingqing's deep eyes, which seemed to stretch as far as the eye could see. I was at the entrance of the Second People's Hospital at 10:30 in the morning. You went to the hospital at the same time, right? Baya continued. You followed me? Gu Lingqing frowned and looked at Baya in disbelief. She didn't know if she was following him. If he thought that she was following him, then so be it. Who's that girl? Baya asked curiously. Hailan and I aren't like what you think, Gu Lingqing explained. Oh, Zhou Hailan isn't dead. Baya understood. It turned out that the girl he had always loved was back. Although they were no longer considered to be married, her heart still ached terribly. Her love for him wasn't fake. Her 3 years of watching over him wasn't fake. Her stubborn marriage was sincere. Let's hurt one last time. Tears flowed out uncontrollably. Gu Lingqing frowned. We didn't do anything yesterday. She fainted and had a serious phobia. She even cut herself with a knife early in the morning. That's why I sent her to the hospital. Baya cried quietly. She fainted too. She also had a serious mental illness. She was also injured. However, he accompanied other women, while she was alone. Gu Lingqing, I don't need a man to take care of me. I can still live well. She needs you to take care of her. Otherwise, she won't be able to survive. Go take care of her. But, I will never, ever, forgive you. Baya picked up the suitcase, opened it, and put the clothes into the suitcase. Seeing that she was leaving, Gu Lingqing pulled her up impulsively. He used too much force and tore her wound. Baya could feel the warm liquid flowing down her skin. Fortunately, the dark clothes covered the blood. What are you talking about? I'm responsible for her. She became like this because of me. It's not what you think, Gu Lingqing explained. His chest was heaving violently. Zhou Hailan became mentally ill because of him. What about her? She became mentally ill because she was cheap. Because her heart wasn't controlled by reason. So, she deserved to be hurt and couldn't bear it. Chapter 207. Gu Lingqing was completely shocked. You're saying that I raped you? There's a child between us. The child is already dead, Baiya said coldly. You. Gu Lingqing felt as if he had been struck by lightning. It took him a long time to recover from his shock. Why didn't you tell me? Did you tell me that Zhou Hailan is still alive? Did you tell me that you accompanied Zhou Hailan until the middle of the night? Did you tell me that you accompanied her to the hospital? Baiya complained loudly. Suddenly, she felt bored. They had already broken up. Still trying to trample on each other was the most childish behavior. It hurt others without benefiting oneself. She calmed herself down. It doesn't matter now. I've already cancelled the registration with the Civil Affairs Bureau. I've also torn up the marriage certificate. You and I are both single now. Go take care of her. What did you say? Gu Lingqing's heart tightened. It was the first time he lost control. He held her arm tightly. The force was so strong that it almost broke her hand. Who gave you this right? Did I agree to the divorce? Baiya pulled her hand with all her might. We're not divorced. It's just the fact that we're not married. That's nonsense. Gu Lingqing let go of her hand. Due to inertia, Baiya fell heavily on the ground. She felt dizzy for a moment and almost fainted. She used all her strength to support herself and looked at Gu Lingqing bitterly. He hugged and hugged other women, but he pushed and hit her. A man could be so heartless. Gu Lingqing's heart tightened. It was more painful than seeing himself fall. He went forward to help her. Baiya pushed his hand away. Gu Lingqing felt that his palm was a little sticky. He took a look and saw that it was all red blood. His heart ached as he looked at Baiya. What's wrong with you? Baiya stood up on her own. Gu Lingqing shouted towards the outside, get the doctor here. Calling you a doctor? Are you trying to make Lu Shuang worry, or are you trying to make Su Shaoling laugh at me? Baiya snapped. Let's stop arguing, okay? I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to worry. I'll take care of Zhou Hailan, Gu Lingqing promised. Gu Lingqing, don't live for your responsibilities. You should live for yourself. I quit. Take good care of Zhou Hailan. Don't let your half-heartedness hurt her again. Your responsibilities have hurt too many people. Ha! Baiya smiled and helped her up. Li. Gu Lingqing held her arm, her eyes misty. Don't go. Baiya squinted at him. Arrange a place for me to stay. I've said that it won't affect my work. If you think that I'm not suitable to work here, you can tell me. Gu Lingqing didn't want her to move out. Do you have to be stubborn with me? Baiya pushed his hand away. I'm not being stubborn with you. I'm just disappointed in you. I'm sorry, Mr. Gu, but I don't have the confidence to live with you. I have another shortcoming, which is that I'm very stingy. I can't tolerate even a grain of sand in my eyes. I really mind my husband taking care of other women. Because I don't like it, be it responsibility or love. Gu Lingqing let go of her hand. His eyes were deep and bottomless. He opened the door and ordered the orderly. I'll clean up the west courtyard for Ms. Bai to live in. Oh, yes. The orderly saw that the chief looked terrible, then looked at Baiya. She didn't look good either, so she left with her head down. Gu Lingqing looked at her. You can rest here now. You're a doctor, so you should know what medicine you need. Write it down for me. I'll go to the infirmary to get it for you. Baya indeed didn't have the energy to go out again. She neatly wrote the list to Gu Lingqing. You can rest in the guest room first, Gu Lingqing said as he took the list. Baya nodded, turned around, and walked towards the guest room. Gu Lingqing clenched his fists so tightly that the veins on the back of his hands were popping out. He deliberately said Ms. Bai, guest room, but she didn't feel anything. Was he out of the game? Gu Lingqing threw the vase on the coffee table to the ground. His eyes were bloodshot. He went out and made a call. Give me the phone number of the chief of the Civil Affairs Bureau within a minute. Lieutenant Colonel Song gave Gu Lingqing the number of the chief of the Civil Affairs Bureau within a minute. Gu Lingqing called, and his tone was very bad. I'm Gu Lingqing from the Special Forces. My wife and I got married here yesterday morning. My wife said that you won't record it. What does that mean? Is it negligence on the part of the Civil Affairs Bureau, or do you treat marriage as a joke? Oh, it's like this. Usually, people who get married yesterday will be recorded in the file at least a week later. I'll go check, the chief of the Civil Affairs Bureau reported. Give me an answer in 3 minutes. I want to record it now, Gu Lingqing said angrily. He went to the infirmary with a cold face. Su Xiaoling saw Gu Lingqing coming over. She stood up and looked at him affectionately. Gu Lingqing didn't even look at her. He passed the list to Lu Shuang and said in a low voice, help me get these medicines. Su Xiaoling's eyes dimmed again. She sat on the chair, took out the resignation letter from the drawer, and handed it to Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing looked at Su Xiaoling coldly. I don't think there's any need for me to stay here, Su Xiaoling said, and looked at Gu Lingqing's face. He was still expressionless. Go and hand the resignation letter to your direct leader. He will handle it. You can leave after you hand it in. Su Xiaoling didn't hear any intention to persuade him to stay. She was completely desperate. The man she had waited for more than 10 years was too heartless. He had never given her any hope. Gu Lingqing, I curse you to never get the woman you love, Su Xiaoling said coldly. She passed by Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing's face looked even worse. He clenched his fists tightly. Lu Shuang was also afraid of Gu Lingqing. He gave him the medicine without hesitation. She felt that it was good for Baya to be liked by another man. Gu Lingqing, forget it. He took the medicine and turned to go out. His phone rang. He saw it was the director of the Civil Affairs Bureau and immediately answered. What's the matter? Gu Lingqing asked anxiously. Well, I'm sorry, Chief. Our staff missed your marriage information. Can you and your wife come back again to make it up? The director said in a trembling voice. What? You missed the information list. Can't it be recorded without this? There seems to be something wrong with the computer. I can't find the scanned copy of your marriage certificate. Even the photos of you and your wife are missing. Without these, it can't be recorded. If you are busy, you can ask someone to send the marriage certificate over. You don't have to come in person, the director of the Civil Affairs Bureau said. Yi said. Gu Lingqing hung up the phone. Chapter 208. Gu Lingqing returned to the guest room. Baya had already changed into a white dress and showered. Where are you hurt? Can you shower? The wound will get infected, Gu Lingqing said worriedly. Baya didn't want to answer him. Arrange the meeting for tomorrow. You're busy today and I don't have the energy to attend the meeting. I'll rest for a night and I should be fine, Baya said weakly. Let's talk after you've rested. The meeting isn't in a hurry. What do I need to do with the medicine? Gu Lingqing asked. I've already taken a drip today. This medicine is for tomorrow. You can go now. I can sleep after taking the medicine, Baya said with drooping eyes. Gu Lingqing went out to pour a glass of water. Baiya had already placed all the medicine in her hand. She took the glass of water and drank a big gulp. She swallowed all the medicine and closed her eyes. The heavy hallucination passed. Gu Lingqing sat on the edge of the bed and looked at her sleeping face. He frowned and covered her forehead with his hand. It was so hot that his palm was sweating. Gu Lingqing's phone rang again. He saw it was Zhou Hailan. He hung up and ordered the orderly, "Go to room 2108 of the 9-star hotel and help me take care of someone." "Oh, okay. All right." The orderly hurried out. Gu Lingqing's phone rang again. This time, it was Su Haoran. He asked in surprise, "Your mom said you and Baiya are getting married?" Gu Lingqing's dark eyes looked forward. His heart felt like it was being squeezed tightly by a hand. "She won't want to marry me." "Huh? What's going on?" "I received a notice yesterday saying that a mentally ill woman kept asking to see me. I went." "That woman is Zhou Hailan," Gu Lingqing explained. Su Haoran was even more shocked. "Hailan isn't dead." "Yes, 30% of her face was burned and she has been undergoing skin grafting. 90% of her body was burned. She had a mental breakdown and was locked up for treatment. She finally managed to escape and is very afraid of being locked up again. His spirit is in extreme panic and inferiority complex," Gu Lingqing explained. "Who imprisoned her? Didn't they say that only Xia He survived? Back then, she and I were trapped in the house. She asked me to take the government official away first. When we got out, the roof collapsed, and she was completely trapped inside. There were people chasing after us, and I couldn't make it in time. I could only escort the government official onto the plane, and when I returned, the house had already been burned to ashes. She was dug out and her body was burnt. I thought she was dead," Gu Lingqing said in a choked voice. "So, you've been imprisoned by a terrorist organization for so many years?" Su Haoran was suspicious. "She's been imprisoned for 3 years and started to have mental problems. After that, she was rescued by the special forces and directly reported to the military committee. With their unanimous agreement, they hid her information and locked her in the research room for treatment." "Who are they?" Su Haoran had a bad feeling. "President, your father, my father, Deputy Chief Cheng." Su Haoran suddenly understood. "So, this time, Zhou Hailan was able to escape successfully because my father and your father let her out on purpose to prevent you from marrying Baiya?" Gu Lingqing was silent. "Then what are you going to do?" Su Haoran was also worried for his friend. "I have to take care of Hailan. She was injured because of me and suffered for almost 9 years. I can't leave her alone." He was very sure of this. "What about Baiya?" Su Haoran asked tentatively. "I love her," Gu Lingqing said firmly. Su Haoran understood. "I didn't expect that after going around in circles with her and losing your memory, you would fall in love with her again. As your brother, I can only support you. Haoran, there's something. I don't know if you know, but I was stronger than her back then." Gu Lingqing couldn't remember anything at all. 6 years ago, you were on a mission and the enemy registered drugs. Coincidentally, she was also kidnapped, so you had sex with her. You've been brooding over this matter. After that, Baiya had a very unfortunate life. You felt that it was your fault, so you approached her and slowly became attracted to her." Su Haoran explained. "I have a child with her. Do you know about this?" Gu Lingqing asked immediately. "You have a child with her?" Su Haoran was also shocked. "I don't know about this, but where's the child? Where is he now?" Baiya said that the child died. Gu Lingqing's eyes dimmed. "I don't know about that. I was already at the Air Force Academy at that time. Do you want to investigate this matter? The child is very important." "What happened? How did the child die?" Su Haoran asked a few questions in a row. He also wanted to know about the child. He hated himself for losing his memory. Otherwise, he would have been able to find more clues. If the child didn't die, maybe you and Baya are a match made in heaven. Even the heavens don't want you two to be separated, Su Haran suddenly said. Gu Lingqing's eyes lit up. Then, let's start from that mission. He turned on his computer and entered the confidential file room. He entered the search for Gu Lingqing. In his file, there was only information from 4 years ago. He had seen this information before when he lost his memory. There was nothing special about it. He also heard from his father that he became the chief 4 years ago. In other words, his authority could only start from 4 years ago. His mission had been completed 6 years ago. 6 years ago, he was still a colonel. He should be under General Kai Qingyun's command. General Kai Qingyun had retired and returned to his hometown 4 years ago. Gu Lingqing checked on General Kai's hometown, Jinyuan City. Jinyuan City and Jinyang City belonged to the same province. The two cities were separated by 2 hours. It was time for him to visit this old leader. Gu Lingqing wrote down General Kai Qingyun's contact number. He turned off his computer and went to the guest room to check on Baya. Baya was still unconscious. Her nose and forehead were covered in sweat, especially her neck, which was oozing with sweat. He took a dry towel and wiped the sweat off her body. She had just been on an 4 drip. He could only use physical methods to help her lower her body temperature. He fetched a basin of cold water from the bathroom. He soaked the towel and wrung it until it was half dry. He wiped her palms, forehead, and soles of her feet. Then, he threw the towel into the basin and lifted her skirt. Only then did he see the shocking scars on her body. There was one that was especially deep. She had used gauze to cover it. Gu Lingqing's hands trembled as he removed the gauze. Because the wound had split open again, thinking that it had not fully healed, there was a large red circle around the wound, and the wound was close to the heart. Gu Lingqing's deep black eyes sparkled with tears. His heart felt as if it had been hit hard by something, and then it was pressed down. Chapter 209. No wonder she went to the entrance of the Second People's Hospital. Have you seen enough? Baya said coldly. She put down her dress and sat up. She looked at Gu Lingqing without any warmth. Don't you think it's not nice to expose my scar without my permission? How did you get hurt? Gu Lingqing asked worriedly. Baya got up from the bed and didn't even look at Gu Lingqing. You shouldn't be concerned about me. I have nothing to do with you now. Gu Lingqing stood behind her. Marriage is agreed upon by both of us. Didn't you discuss the divorce with me? We agreed before we got married. If I want a divorce, you can't object. I'm just fulfilling your promise. Baya took the diamond ring off her finger and returned it to Gu Lingqing. He took the ring and threw it out of the window. His eyes were red and he said with certainty, I won't get a divorce. We've already divorced. Baya told the truth cruelly. Gu Lingqing held her arm. I'm responsible for Zhou Hailan. She got hurt because of me. That's why she has a mental illness. Baya didn't want to mention the problem that they had talked about before. Then take care of her for the rest of her life, Baya said coldly. Gu Lingqing frowned helplessly. Can't you understand me? There are many women in the world who can understand you, tolerate you, support you, and take your decision as the sky. But I'm not one of them. You can hate me and blame me. But when you find out that I'm not the one you're looking for, you can abandon me, Baya said resolutely. Gu Lingqing's eyes turned cold. Am I not worthy of you waiting for me? Baya raised her head and looked at Gu Lingqing. She had had enough of a hopeless marriage. Holding on for one more day was hell. She was on the verge of breaking down. Everyone had the ability to protect themselves. Just take it as me being selfish. Gu Lingqing put his hand down. I know. Your injuries are quite serious. I'll take you to the hospital. No need. Gu Lingqing was completely enraged. No need, no need. Do you only have these 2 words for me? Baiya, I'm telling you, I'm not getting a divorce. If you ask Su Jiran to revoke the registration records in the Civil Affairs Bureau, I can also pressure him to restore the records. You want a divorce? In your dreams. Cracks also appeared on Baiya's calm face. I want a divorce. I want freedom. I don't want to be trapped in hopelessness anymore. Where was my husband on our wedding night? Do you think Zhou Hailan is sick and I'm not? Do you think I didn't faint when Zhou Hailan fainted and went to see the doctor? She fainted where you can see her, but I only fainted on the road. That's because you can't see me. Ask your heart. I don't know all these. You shouldn't blame me because I don't know. What's wrong with you? Gu Lingqing looked at Baiya worriedly. Baiya paused for a moment. Impulsiveness was the devil. It would make people angry and rush to their brain, causing them to lose control of their emotions. They would say things they shouldn't say when they're angry. She understood this logic, but she couldn't do it most of the time. Gu Lingqing, I'm very tired. Let me rest for a while. You can go and do what you need to do, Baiya said softly. Gu Lingqing looked at Baiya's pale face. Her gaze gradually softened. I won't force you to marry me, but you shouldn't force me to divorce either. Extreme methods aren't good for either of us. Okay, Baiya replied. She really didn't have any strength left. You should rest for a while. I'll make you something to eat. Gu Lingqing lifted the blanket. Baiya's heart ached. She lay down on the bed. Gu Lingqing covered her with the blanket. She didn't want to face Gu Lingqing, so she closed her eyes. Xiaoya, don't sleep yet. Your wound needs to be treated. Have you prepared the medicine? Gu Lingqing said softly. Baiya opened her eyes. I've applied the medicine. Once in the morning and once at night. You can go now. Gu Lingqing went out. Not long after, he came back with a kettle and poured water into a cup. I'm not leaving. I'm in the kitchen. Call me if you need anything, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. He turned around and walked towards the door. Baiya looked at his stalwart back view. She couldn't bear to see him go. She had heard about the story of Gu Lingqing and Zhou Hailan long ago. He was responsible for Zhou Hailan. It wasn't wrong. However, she did care about it. She didn't want to force him to give up his responsibility. So, she took the initiative to give up on him. But now that he didn't want to see Zhou Hailan because of her, it made her very sad. Women were contradictory creatures. At the same time, they were too soft-hearted and easily blinded by emotions. She had seen many cases. A young, beautiful, and kind female postgraduate saw an old man fall down. She helped him up. The old man said that she had come here to look for her son. She couldn't find him, so she wanted to go home. The female postgraduate sent the old man to a mountainous area. In the end, she was detained and became the wife of a man with an IQ. She was even forced to give birth to a disabled child. There was also a young, beautiful nurse who helped a pregnant woman go home. Unexpectedly, the pregnant woman was helping her husband hunt. In the end, the nurse was brutally killed by the couple. Kindness, compassion, and, most importantly, rationality and danger awareness were necessary. Baiya closed her eyes. Her head was too heavy. She fell asleep. When she woke up again, it was already 10 o'clock at night. Her stomach was aching from hunger. She got up from the bed and opened the door to go out. Gu Lingqing was sitting on the sofa. He stood up when he saw her. Are you hungry? The food is ready. You can eat it after heating it up. Baiya nodded. Thank you. Gu Lingqing didn't like it when she said thank you to him. It sounded distant. He walked towards her and put the diamond ring back on her ring finger. Don't take it off first. I won't force you to get married. Let's get used to it for 3 months first and then decide if we want to be together. If you still don't want to be with me after 3 months, then I won't force you. Baya looked at the diamond ring on her finger. The diamond shone under the light. She looked at Gu Lingqing rationally. With Gu Lingqing's authority, a military marriage couldn't be divorced. It might not be possible in the future. After all, marriage was a fact. It was only 3 months. Okay, Baya replied. Go sit at the dining table first. I'll be done in a while. Gu Lingqing's tensed expression finally relaxed a little. He walked into the kitchen. He made mullet soup, carotene, tomatoes, and eggs. Mullet is used to heal wounds. Carotene and vitamin C will heal wounds, Gu Lingqing explained. Okay. He brought 2 bowls of rice, one for her and one for him. She glanced at him. Didn't he also not have dinner? Chapter 210. Baya looked at Gu Lingqing. Her eyes were deep and distant. She lowered her head and continued eating. What's wrong? Gu Lingqing asked confusedly. When the child was born, he didn't grow up. I couldn't tell who he looked like, but his skin was very white, his eyelashes were very long, his mouth was small and he had double eyelids. When Baya mentioned the child, there was finally a smile on her face. How did the child die? Gu Lingqing stared at her. I don't know. After I gave birth to him, he was taken away by a group of people. I don't know who they are and I can't find out who they are. I've been looking for him for more than 5 years, but he disappeared like a stone in the ocean. If he's still alive, he should be 5 years old by now, Baya said sadly. Gu Lingqing's hope was ignited. So, you're not sure whether he's dead or not? Baya didn't say anything and lowered her head to eat. Could it be your ex-husband who did it? Gu Lingqing guessed. Impossible. He didn't know that I didn't abort the child. He didn't even know about the existence of the child. I asked him to look for the child later on but he couldn't find it for more than 3 years, Baya said with certainty. Nonsense. The child isn't your ex-husband's. What's the use of looking for him? Gu Lingqing frowned. Then look for him. If you find him, I'll marry you, Baya said casually. She took a deep breath and realized that she had said the wrong thing. I'm joking. Gu Lingqing's eyes dimmed. Let's eat first. Gu Lingqing's phone rang. He saw that it was Zhou Hailan and hung up. The phone rang again. It was Zhou Hailan again. Answer it. I'll go with you to see her later, Baya said calmly. She's in a bad state. Baya curled her lips. It's fine if I don't go. That's not what I mean. Gu Lingqing hesitated and looked at Baya. Are you afraid that I'll hurt her? Baya guessed. Her condition is very unstable. She is easily frightened and will do things to hurt others. Don't go for now, Gu Lingqing explained. Baya smiled. He was still afraid that she would hurt Zhou Hailan. She had already tried to help him. So be it. Her kindness was treated as ill intent. Go ahead. Otherwise, it would be bad if she hurt others, Baya said with a smile. I'll come back later, Gu Lingqing promised. Baya lowered his head and ate. She watched him leave from the corner of her eye. If every time she and her husband had a meal together, her husband would leave for another woman. Even if they shared the same bed, he would still leave for another woman. Then, if she still wanted to be with him, it would be too frustrating. Let's wait for 3 months. It won't take long. Even though she said so, she still felt uncomfortable and unhappy. She wanted to call Lu Shuang, but Lu Shuang had to work during the day. It was so late and he should be asleep. She still had to work tomorrow, so she did not call him. She went out of the military base, took a taxi and went to the nearest KTV. She booked a private room and sang. She sang old songs that everyone could sing. Things like, Happy Breakup, It's Always Quiet, It's Always Raining, and Orbit. How to Hide, My Sadness, The Place Where I Lost You. When I close my eyes, I can still see the traces of you leaving. I'll be in a daze, and then forget you, thinking that one day, someone will replace you. The tears in my heart have blurred the world. She sang and cried. She sang and cried until her tears broke the dam and she could no longer sing. She lowered her head and clenched her fists. Her shoulders were trembling. The door was pushed open. Baya looked up at the door in alarm. Su Jiran walked in. I know you're alone. I've always been alone too. I'm here to accompany you. Baya cried even harder. She did not want to think about anything. She just wanted to cry to her heart's content. She was afraid that if she thought too much, her thoughts would become chaotic again. Su Jiran sat next to her and placed his hand on her shoulder. Baya pushed him away. Even if I'm sad, even if I'm sad, even if I'm in despair, I don't want to casually start an ambiguous relationship. Tears flowed out of Su Jiran's left eye. Baya was slightly shocked. I'm not casually starting an ambiguous relationship with you. I just want to give you the warmth that I can give. Do you think that your warmth is what I want? Baya was emotional. Whether you want it or not is your business. Whether you give it or not is my business. You can reject me. You can keep rejecting me, just like how I rejected you in the past. Baya, do you know the real reason why I didn't touch you in the 3 years we were married? Baya turned her face away. There were too many tears and they had already covered her vision. She wiped away her tears handsomely, but they still flowed out. Because your father killed my father. I knew that one day, the flames of my vengeance would burn you. From the first time I saw you, I liked you. Because I liked you, I didn't dare to get close to you. I was afraid that it would ruin my determination. But in the end, it ruined my vengeance. I'm willing. I was willing to give up everything for you. Su Jiran. Baya raised her voice. Do you think that 3 years has diluted my memory and made me forget the pain I felt when I was with you? It's a fact that you hurt me, slept with other women, forced yourself on me, and almost killed me. Although I'm not smart, I'm not forgetful. That's because I added my hatred to you. I'm sorry, Baya. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. I've already received my punishment. Seeing you cry, my heart hurts. Seeing you commit suicide, my heart that was in pain died too. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you very much. Su Jiran said emotionally. Okay, you love me very much, right? Baya took out a fruit knife from her bag and threw it in front of him. I castrated myself and stayed by your side. I'll accompany you for the rest of my life. What I want has never been sex. I want to be with you forever. Can you do that? Baya said impulsively. Okay, you said it. Su Jiran picked up the knife and cut towards his abdomen. Baya closed her eyes and blocked his hand. The sharp knife pierced into her arm. Baya. Su Jiran shouted guiltily. Baya smiled. Her red and swollen eyes were flowing with tears. I'm going crazy again, Su Jiran. I'm like my mother. I'm mentally ill. Su Jiran looked at Baya in surprise. Tears flowed down her pale face. I'll send you to the hospital, Su Jiran said with heartache. I want to leave. I haven't adjusted myself. I want to go back to America, Baya said while crying. Okay, you can go anywhere you want. I'll accompany you. Even if it's hell, I'll go with you. Su Jiran held the wound on Baya's arm tightly. Blood stained his palm. Baya stood up in a daze. Her eyes turned black and she fainted. You're tuning into the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.